events and things that happen. Because it's based on the science fiction of H.P. Lovecraft, which is why it's called Lovecraft Country. And H.P. Lovecraft was this author that wrote a lot of weird science fiction and shit, monsters, and like his take on vampires and werewolves and all kinds of weird monsters and witchcraft and all kinds of shit like that, right? So they took that and they put it into all this other cool stuff that happens, and basically take this lore or this universe that H.P. Lovecraft created and throw this cast of Black people in Chicago in the 1950s into this like mix. So you have this like Black culture where no, Black people are typically the kind of people who are like anything that's out of the ordinary or like a little off creeps them out. Like witchcraft is like this thing where it's like, oh, that's bad juju, and you get this weird creepy like we don't fuck with like witchcraft type shit. So you take all this supernatural type stuff that's happening and throw this cast of Black people into it, and you get these really intense reactions, this really intense stuff that's kind of going on. And they have to kind of figure out how to function, how to move, how to adapt, and to protect themselves. So I introduced a friend of mine to this show and told him you should check this out, which is really interesting because he's one of the people that I had these conversations with about like trying to understand why he supported Donald Trump, right? And why he was like big on the whole Trump thing and the Trump campaign. I mean, he's been like diehard on it since from day one. When Trump first announced presidency, he was like, oh, this is gonna be great. And just has never kind of pulled away from that. He's always just entrenched is the word I'm looking for. Mm-hmm. So as someone who's really entrenched in the Trump campaign, yeah. So someone who's really entrenched in the Trump campaign and has bought into that cult of personality, he's been watching this show that centers around Black people. And when you watch the show, it's really interesting. It's really fascinating because a lot of the stuff that happens isn't stuff that's like super scary. Right? Like it's not generally, so the show is based on like this science fiction horror. It's like a science fiction like horror type of show, right? But the stuff that happens isn't super scary to the average person. At the same time, when you're watching it, if you're Black, the shit is fucking terrifying. Like there's one episode where this group has to drive through a sundown county. And if you don't know what a sundown county is, you're like, oh, I'm gonna get it with Big Bill. Big Bill, who gives a shit, right? Wait, and you know what a sundown.
Wait. Was this the one where it was the three people? The three. Was it the one? This movie, there was three people driving in a car at that point in the show.
Yeah, I think so.
It was the girl and two dudes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I watched that episode. So I can follow you here. So I'm with you now. So I watched that episode. I had never heard of a sundown county before. So that okay. So
that's
now
what he said too.
We watched. That was like the first episode, I think, or maybe the second or something.
Yeah, it was early in the series. Yeah, it was really early. So
okay. So continue on.
So there's some people that are like, a couple of people I talked to, and like on the podcast, they pointed this out too, where they were like, so you have this sundown kind of thing, and it's like, I don't understand, like that's not terrifying, right? But as a Black person watching this and knowing what a sundown county is, you're it's like, terrifying. Oh my fucking God, this is life or death. This shit is tense.
They were racing against the clock to get out of the county, right?
Yeah, they're being chased by the sheriff who says, if you're in this county at sundown, I'm going to kill you.
You can't
like
speed.
Flat out.
I'm
going to blow your brains out. Right. And if you speed, I'm going to pull you over because you're breaking the law. So you can't speed. You got to go to the speed limit, which, back then is like 25 miles an hour. You're this old beat up, like giant metal boat of a car in the 50s. So your cars aren't super technologically advanced. I'm not talking about being able to outrun the cops in a supercharged V8 or some shit like that. Right. So yeah, they're like in this low speed chase where the cop is like riding their ass behind them and whatnot, and they're going like 25, 30 miles an hour, trying to make it to the county line before the sun sets, right?
Yeah.
And so like they're watching this, and when they're talking about the podcast, they're like, yeah, so they're in the car and they're driving, and you're like, wow, this is like, it's just this scene where they're just driving and they're trying to get away from it. And you think about it, and you're like, it's a low speed scene, like it's kind of lackluster. But as a Black person, it's fucking terrifying because you know what this is. Like, the stakes of this, like if they don't make it,
You don't know
They're
what this
done.
is. You never no one today has felt like seen that, or like, I mean,
Mhm.
you said you know what this feels like. Not that. That's weird. Should we've never experienced a sundown county, right?
Right. That's some wild shit. Like it's
That's some
super
old
wild.
stuff that existed
Yeah.
back in the day.
And so like run into this guy at work, and I'm, or not at work, but like we're in online having meetings and stuff like that. And before the meeting starts, that he talks, that he brings up the episode. He's like, "Did you watch the episode?" I'm like, "Yeah, I watched it. I listened to the podcast." And I was like, "It's really interesting because it's like something that really happened in like the 40s and 50s, right? This is really a thing that was going on back then, and now it's 2020, and for the last, let's see, 5 or 6 years, at least the last 5 or 6 years, every time I get in my car to go someplace, I take my wallet out of my pocket and I put it in the handle that you grab to close the door of the car. So if I ever get pulled over, I don't have to look like I'm reaching for anything. My wallet is right here with my ID in it. I can very quickly and easily grab it from the door and go, yeah, it's right here when the cops come up, because I don't have to worry. So I don't have to be perceived as a threat.
Mm-hmm.
And so the guy I'm explaining this to is like, holy shit, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, we're not that far from sundown counties and it's 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole thing that's terrifying about the sundown county in that show, in the episode, is the fact that, yeah, they could be shot and killed by this law enforcement official and nothing would happen. Like nobody stops them, right? There's nothing to stop that. There's no repercussions for that officer. I was like, and then fast forward to 2020, we're kind of in the same boat still. It's not that much different, because of things like qualified immunity. So yeah, we were having that conversation. It was super interesting. And so right now,
Qualified
while I'm sitting
immunity,
here, right.
because of things like qualified immunity. Explain what qualified immunity is.
So qualified immunity is this process that they have in law enforcement where you can't. So to the way the process works when a police officer is accused of wrongdoing, like say, for example, we'll just go with the obvious: shooting someone and killing an unarmed citizen or killing someone, right? Officer says, "I feared for my life. I thought he had a weapon," whatever the case may be, whatever that defense is.
That's right.
We have these conversations where we're like, we need to be brought to justice, X, Y, and Z, and people are protesting and marching in the streets and yada, yada, yada. And then what tends to happen is no charges are filed, right? They don't even get to the point of holding the officer accountable and taking the officer to court, because they decide there's no wrongdoing, there's nothing to pursue charges on in the first place. The way that's decided is based on a, a council or a tribunal of police officers, right? They look at the case and they decide, police officers, people that are in work in or used to work in law enforcement. They look at the facts of the case and they decide whether or not, the officer's actions were justified, or if there's, if they acted reasonably or not, right?
Okay. Okay.
But the thing about that and the reason why they do that is because you can't just take, like Karen from Gilbert and throw her into a room and have her decide whether or not an officer is guilty of something. Karen from Gilbert's never had her life on the line,
Okay.
protect and serve, right?
Okay.
So like there's a very fine line that you get, because there's a very small percent of the population who's ever actually been in a life or death situation where it was me or that person, kind of a thing, right? You have people who've been in military and frontline combat. You have police officers, SWAT, federal agents like FBI and CIA, those kinds of things. But
Mm-hmm.
outside of that, like the average guy working in the grocery store has never really had to deal with that unless it was a situation where he's being robbed, right? So, and then even when he's being robbed, so the grocery store being robbed, he doesn't have that it's me or this person, because 9 out of 10 he's working in a grocery store, he's not carrying a gun to protect himself, right?
Right.
So there's a very small pool to choose from to even start reviewing the situation and deciding whether or not officers should be held accountable or should be charged, and then start the process to defend himself as X, Y, and Z, the actual legal proceedings. And I think a lot of people don't understand that when they come into the situation saying we have to hold the cops accountable, we have to do X, Y, and Z, and we have to put them out there, right? I don't think they really know that qualified immunity is a thing that exists, and they have to go through this decision-making process before they even decide whether or not they should bring charges. Okay. So you get the qualified immunity thing.
Yep.
They go through this review process. And the way qualified immunity works, layman's terms, really quick, broad overview, right? No, and especially not being a lawyer, just having read about it. The way it works is to decide or to determine that a police officer should be charged with a crime and should go to trial to defend themselves and prove that they are innocent, right? Or have the state prove that they are guilty, or the feds. The circumstances have to be compared to another case that has been previously determined, or that another case where they have found that an officer was guilty of wrongdoing that is similar, that matches the current case. Okay.
That's odd.
So if you have an officer who, and this is why a lot of these cases get thrown out. They almost always get thrown out, because if there's a situation where an officer is approaching a suspect and says, "Hey, freeze, put your hands up," draws his weapon, and the suspect turns around and the officer says, "Well, it looked like he had a weapon in his right hand, so I shot him," right?
Okay.
Cases like that have been thrown out because when the suspect turned around in an exact same situation, it looked like the suspect had something in their left hand, not their right hand. Still had a weapon, or still thought they had a weapon, but because it wasn't the exact same situation as a previous case, it was thrown out. It's got to match like 100%, right?
Okay.
So it's got to be 100% matched to a previous case where an officer has been found of wrongdoing. And if the officer hasn't been found of wrongdoing, they won't charge the officer of wrongdoing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so now, if you have to have a case where an officer has been found of wrongdoing to compare a current case where an officer has been found of wrongdoing, but that means there's never ever going to be a case where an officer has been found of wrongdoing, because even the first officer that this was brought out against didn't have anything to compare it to, so it was thrown out, right? So you have to find something where not only were the circumstances exactly the same point by point, but in the situation that you compare it to, the officer has to have been found guilty of wrongdoing.
Wow.
And that's the layman's version of qualified immunity. Okay. So if you don't have a case that exists where an officer, exact same situation, like literally, I mean, the case has been out because a suspect was wearing a different colored shirt, right? Or the suspect was like a foot shorter than the suspect in the previous case. Like the level of detail they get to is ridiculous, and that's where it kind of goes out the window a little bit. Now, I don't disagree with qualified immunity necessarily.
Yeah, you've already made the point that you understand the point. You understand the
right.
point in it.
I disagree with the way it's being applied. The way it's being applied is it's got to be identical to the letter. If you took the way it's being applied and you said this has to be done by a reasonable person could see this, could understand how you got to this decision, then we have a problem, or we don't have a problem, And that's the way civilians are looked at in cases. Civilians are looked at in cases where it's like, would a reasonable person act this way in this scenario, right? If I'm walking through a parking lot at night and somebody jumps out from behind a car and goes, "Blah," and tries to scare me, and I go, "Oh shit," and I stab them with a knife to protect myself, that's fairly reasonable. I was scared for my life. I thought I was being attacked, right?
Yeah.
Same scenario, but I stabbed that person 72 times. Is that reasonable?
No, that's not.
Like, you stabbed him once. You couldn't back up after that and say, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah.
You really had to stab him 72 times? Or that's not reasonable.
Right.
So then it's like, no, there was some fucked up shit here. You need to go to trial, right? Because the average reasonable citizen would not do this. And reasonable is just like, you don't have a history of like mental health, mental illness, yada, 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 right? Mm-hmm. So if they had something along, if qualified immunity was applied with the reasonable citizen standards, it would be more effective, because it's not applied with reasonable citizen standards. It's literally being applied to the letter. Suspect was 5'5" in our case, and in your case, suspect was 5'7". So it's not the same case. Throw it out. Jeez. It's literally how this is being applied to these cases a lot of times.
Okay, so now you made the point about it. If I haven't derailed it all the way completely, if you can remember what your original point was, can you get to it?
Yeah. So what I was saying is, the qualified immunity thing is what comes up now is like one of the things that people don't really understand that's there, and that's why we say that there's no justice being done. That's kind of like how justice is being subverted in 2020, right? Mm-hmm. In this TV show that I was talking to my friend about in the 50s, when they're subverting justice, it was just, they were black, we don't care, right?
Okay.
And so it's kind of it's shifted a little bit. There have been efforts put into, there's been progress kind of made, but every time progress is made, something systematically is put in to kind of hamstring that progress, right? It's like, okay, well, yeah, we can hold cops accountable. There is a system in place to hold police accountable for this shit. When you look at the details of that system, there's no accountability. And that's where things are falling apart. And a lot of people don't realize that. I didn't know that until I think April or May of this year. I found that out. I was like, holy shit, are you kidding me? That's a thing? That really happens?
What do you mean?
I didn't know that qualified immunity exists.
Okay.
And
that's not something that's been talked about at all. Like as much close attention, qualified immunity is not even a topic through all the discussion on Twitter that I can remember that's been brought up. It's not something that's been broken down in any kind of degree that I can think of.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know it exists and don't know. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, think about like how many people know how to just pick up money, invest in the stock market. Like,
right.
A small percent of the population has that knowledge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's more now than it used to be. In the 80s, it was like this super mysterious thing. Like, oh my God, the stock market, what the hell is that? We don't know what that is. Like witchcraft, you know? Now you can Google and you can find this stuff and you can find out how to invest in the stock market. You can find out about qualified immunity. But what do you Google to learn about qualified immunity if you've never heard of it? Like, a lot of people don't even know to look at it. They just look at the cases. And even like in the reportings of cases, whether it's, Democratic or, if you're liberal or conservative or in the middle, wherever you are, and you're having these conversations about the shit that's going on with the police, people don't even know this is a thing. They don't even know that this is what's really happening, So if you're on the liberal side, you're like, we got to defund the police or whatever your stance is on dealing with the police officers and shit is. When you're looking at that stuff, you can see it and you go, oh crap, we need to defund the police. And you don't really understand why. You just know the only solution I've heard that makes sense is defund the police, right? If you're conservative, you're like, no, defend the police because they're heroes, X, Y, and Z, yada, yada, yada. But you don't realize that there's this little loophole that's letting them get away with shit they shouldn't get away with. And so when people are talking about, the bad actors or, a couple of bad apples don't spoil the bunch or shouldn't spoil the bunch and stuff like that, like, well, the problem is the good apples aren't saying something about qualified immunity or trying to shut down qualified immunity. The good apples are turning a blind eye to it.
Okay, so let me read this quick paragraph from What is Qualified Immunity? Qualified immunity is a judicially created doctrine that shields government officials from being held personally liable for constitutional violations, like the right to be free from excessive police force, for money damages under federal law, so long as the officials did not violate clearly established law, both 42 USC blah 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 statute originally passed to assist the government in combating Ku Klux Klan violence in the South after the Civil War. So that gets to your point of why it might have been necessary at one point. And the Supreme Court's decision in Bivens versus 6 unknown named agents of Federal Bureau of Narcotics in 1971 allow individuals to sue government officials for money damages when they violate their constitutional rights. Section 1983 applies to state officials, while Bivens applies to federal officials. Because damages are often the only available remedy after a constitutional violation has occurred, suits for damages can be a crucial means of vindicating the constitutional rights. When government officials are sued, qualified immunity functions as an affirmative defense they can raise, barring damages even if they committed unlawful acts. Qualified immunity is not, however, a defense to claims for injunctive relief. Okay.
So that's why you see no charges being filed against police officers, but civil suits being paid. You can't file criminal charges, but you can file a civil suit and do that kind of, well, all right, we're going to sell the civil suit. The civil suit is kind of like the admission of wrongdoing and the payment for it, because that's the closest you can get because of qualified immunity, right? Qualified immunity covers state and federal officials. It wasn't created for police. It was initially created for federal agents, FBI, CIA, etc., especially FBI and like ATF, those kind of things. Well, it was modified for them. It was originally created doing KKK stuff. Okay. So, but there's a lot of wild shit that you get into when you start looking into this. You start looking to that and you go further back and you learn things like the police in America were literally established, or their origins come from hunting down runaway slaves. So when you say shit like, well, just comply, your history comes from hunting down my people. So that's where you get this mistrust of things like cops showing up and saying, well, give me your information, give me X, Y, and Z, and making demands without explaining, well, why did you pull me over? What's happening here? I think a lot of people don't realize that, especially if you don't have dark skin, how terrifying it is to be in those situations when you were raised with this history and this fear of, hey, you know what? When they stop you, you could die, right? So the just comply thing makes total sense unless you have a history of your people being hunted down by the people who you're being told to comply with.
I know
Anyway.
you and I once had a great conversation about that, and you had some eye-opening points on how the training of police needs to increase, and I'm such a huge proponent of trying to find a way. I've actually heard some difficult arguments on how hard it is to make these police train to the point that we want them to be, and the money it takes and the time it takes. And Jocko Willink, like how he calls on Joe Rogan's show for police should be trained as the military are. They should go through deep training on crowd suppression, on de-escalation, things of that nature. And we all support that. And it's just like, how do you make it happen on a state budget? Well, I think they need to figure out a way to reallocate some things instead of defunding the police. They need to feed money into the police to find out a way to train these people in a way that that change the mindset, that puts it in a different way, that they're not just this old timey good old boy clan of police in like the state of Arizona and the county sheriffs and stuff, and how they may act about things as they conduct their business.
Don't use clan.
Right. Yeah.
Don't use clan. That's not good.
Right.
That paints all cops as clan members. And that's not a good thing, because we know most cops aren't clan members. Right.
Most cops are clan members?
Aren't.
Okay.
Yeah, most cops are not clan members. No, God, no.
No.
So one of the things I think is interesting too is that everybody's on this, oh my God, defund the police thing. Everybody's like, defund the police. And then people that are supporting police are like, no, don't defund the police. People, I think, automatically assume, and they're being given the wrong information, that says we're going to take money away from cops and there's going to be less cops. I don't think that's the case. So people are missing that. In Chandler, just east of Alma School, between Alma School and Arizona Avenue on Pecos, there's a police station. It's an unmarked building. It's not an actual regular police station. It's like a police depot. And I used to drive by there every day to and from work. And this is a place where they keep APCs. It's a SWAT depot. City of Chandler SWAT team is there, and they have multiple APCs, like literal military APCs, armored personnel carriers, going in and out of this building, and they roll them out for training and shit like that. You know how much an APC costs?
No.
I bet you one APC could pay for some of that training for a year for City of Chandler.
Yeah. Damn.
So this is what people are talking about when they're saying defund the police. Okay. Like, there's not really a major reason why City of Chandler police or City of Gilbert police on motorcycles need to have 12 gauge shotguns and AR-15s or M4s strapped to their motorcycles, just riding around patrol, writing out speeding tickets. Seems a bit excessive.
Oh no, you remember that bank robbery in LA? You remember that whole thing? I remember watching that thing live, and remember the armed, and we felt like they were being overpowered, and the police were like, I was just like, man, they need to have heavy weaponry for backup or something for this type of situation could happen at any moment.
For that kind of situation, it could happen at any moment. What does SWAT exist for then? Isn't
Yeah,
that what the SWAT team's job is?
yeah, but these people are on the front lines first. You know, they're the ones that were fighting against people like that in that bank robbery. If you remember that thing that happened, you remember that particular one I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Okay.
there've been a couple of them.
Yeah, and they were the first ones, you know, on the front lines of it, and the SWAT teams eventually showed up with the heavy weaponry. But I just remember feeling like how outmanned, how outgunned they were. And there's been multiple situations since when you're like, I feel like they need to have the highest type of weaponry possible, to tell you the truth, because of weird situations like that that could occur, and they're undermanned, and all of a sudden they're stuck with less weaponry than these crazy, I don't know, the movie Heat scene unfolds, and in the middle of a LA city, and they have a bunch of revolvers they're shooting. So you don't want to see that, really.
See, the problem with that is turning the exception into the rule. Every bank robbery is going to become this massive shootout in the streets. So to
Which
prevent that
never
from happening,
happens.
which never happens, right?
Never
As someone who works at a bank, like
It never
bank
happens.
robberies don't go down like that.
Not like
right?
that. No.
It's very rare that you get a situation where a bank robber is going to come in and they're going to flash M16s and they're rocking M4s and grenade launchers and shit like that. And they're like, "Give me all the money!" and they're waving shit around. It doesn't even happen like that.
No.
Like bank policy prevents that. It's not 92 when Heat came out, right?
Right.
Speaking of which, they reviewed that movie on the podcast I told you about. My Chat the Movies guys reviewed Heat. That gunfight scene was one of the things that's still classic, right? It's a classic scene. That's what sticks in people's heads. But I think the problem is people think of that when they think bank robbery or massive large crime wave, right? You ever been to London? You've been to England?
No.
So
They
going
have
to
nothing.
London,
They got nothing.
really interesting because cops don't carry guns. They carry clubs. They have like pepper spray. I think they have tasers now, and they have like handcuffs and shit. They don't carry guns.
Right.
If something goes down where they need to have a gun, they
Mhm.
call in a specially trained unit of like former military guys who are now police that come in with guns, with like literal handguns. Like we're talking Glocks and shit.
Uh-huh.
And they can come in with sniper rifles and AR-15s or M4s or whatever they need, M4 carbines and shit like that. They could come in with 3-round burst and full auto semi-auto weapons to come in. But that's not the default because you don't need to run around with guns to stop crime, right? Because the majority of the crime isn't happening the way that they think it is. There was a guy that was explaining.
This is where it leads to this is where it leads to officers on the streets of London getting beheaded by Islamic extremists who are literally cutting heads off in the middle of the streets with a billy club. I got to protect myself, and this dude can overpower it. It's happened so many times in London. Just want to make that point. That's
happened a ton of times in London. That's a regular occurrence in London.
Like a couple times. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah. See, again, you're making that. This is what happens is we look at the extreme case and we think the extreme case is how we should live lives, right? Which puts us literally living in a state of terror. Like if you look at terrorism, it's being put into a state of terror, right? That's what happened after 9/11. People went, "Oh my God,
overblown.
Flying is a dangerous thing."
Can make you. You're right. The feeling of it can make it feel as if it's something that's common when we all know it's not something that's common, but has happened. And the fact that if those officers, those couple of them, however many it was in France on bridges, it's been happening a lot in the last 5 to 10 years, especially. And if these people had weapons to defend themselves, they'd still be with us, I suppose. And it's not been a common thing. And you're right to say that. Don't let that overriding factor make you live your life in that certain way.
Right. Like it happens. We know it happens. Just like we know, like you're likely to get in a car accident, right?
Right.
Your plane is likely to crash when you take a trip someplace, right?
Right.
But very few people ever say, you know what? I could get in this car and die. I'm not going to drive anymore. Like that would be completely asinine. You'd be like, seriously? Like, you know how often somebody gets in a car wreck and dies? It happens fairly frequently. You know how often somebody gets in a plane crash and dies? It doesn't happen nearly as frequency as people say it does or make it as likely to be. But that doesn't stop us from doing those things. But when you take that same logic and you apply it to give all police high-end weapons and high-powered weapons and give them military type weapons and whatnot, but not giving them the same military type training, you run into problems. right? There was a guy, I think it's Bo, the fifth column, that had an interesting breakdown or interesting theory on police and us like heralding police officers as heroes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I mean, these guys are like being put up as heroes and they have this hero thing, and we've got this mentality that cops are heroes and whatnot. And we're comparing them to like special forces, CIA operators, and the people that like we're comparing the average traffic ticket writing cop on the street to the squad who went and took down Saddam Hussein. Like they're on the same level and whatnot, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you get things like the squad who went in and took down Saddam Hussein didn't go and kill 7 of the wrong people first at the wrong houses before they got Saddam. They sat on the intel. They got the intel, they did the work, they did the groundwork, they did all the investigative results, and they confirmed the target was winning where they were supposed to be when they were supposed to be there, right? Now, if we're going to make those comparisons, the cops that kicked in Breonna Taylor's door when they had the suspect they were looking for in custody and they were at the wrong house at the wrong address aren't on the operator level that we're trying to put them on and call them the heroes and compare them to the heroes. Are they brave men and women? Yes. But are they CIA level operator heroes? No. If we're going to give them the same hardware, they should have the same training and be held to the same standard. Simple as that. Like, okay. I don't necessarily think that they should not have this stuff, right? But I think getting new shit every year, like Chandler, brand new 2020 Chevy Tahoes. They had 2019 Chevy Tahoes in 2019. In 2018, they had Chevy Tahoes. In 2017, they had Chevy Tahoes. Like, why are they getting brand new $70,000 SUVs every fucking year? What happens if you space it out 2 years? Put that money into something else, right? I'm not saying strip away everything, take all the gear, and just be like, hey, good luck. Here's a club and a loincloth, do your thing, right? Just kind of cut back on that. New gear 1 year, right? New training the next year. Simple as that.
Okay. Hey, Nate, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, brother.
Hey, what's up, man?
Man, you know what I'm doing right now, brother?
Hey.
Shit, doing me.
Can you jump into a Zoom chat for me?
Man, they haven't sent me the damn password, and fucking my wife and my daughter don't want to help me because they're on their own shit.
Okay. What if have you ever downloaded the Zoom app?
Yeah, I tried it, but they're supposed to send me the password or confirm something.
I could send you something.
I can't find it.
I could send you something right.
Crazy.
I can send you something right now that makes it super easy for you.
Cool, because I'm computer illiterate. All I know how to do is play my games and play some music on this motherfucker. That's all I know how to do with the damn phone.
Hey, that's okay. I would love to get your opinion on this thing real quick. Me and my friend Z are chopping it up right now on some topics that you would love to get in on, I'm sure. So
yeah, I heard right now about your Tahoe situation. I'm like, hell yeah, I want to talk about it too.
Okay, so hey, on Facebook, you could go to Facebook. I posted a link on there, right? You could go on there and click on that link real quick and just join it. And I could text you there's a passcode, I think, but maybe it should let you just jump in, I think, right, Z?
Yeah, I need a passcode. I just clicked the link and it opened.
So you just click a link and it'll open you up. Just go on to Facebook real quick. You can find me on there and click on the link. It should bring you right into it.
Oh hell yeah! Let me see. I might have to wake up my daughter because
just go to Facebook and find James on the damn thing. You'll find me. Click on it.
All right.
Join this conversation. All right.
All right, brother.
All right. Peace.
Now.
Peace.
Let me.
Oh shit. Yeah, I'm sure there is. How?
So if you go to Zoom and then you say start a meeting, if you copy and paste your link, all they'll have to do is you'll push copy link for meeting. All they'll have to do is enter their name and they can get in. So anyone with a link can join.
Right.
They don't need a password.
So copy, invite link, boom, right? Mm-hmm. Invite link. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go to Facebook real quick.
You should be able to just copy the link you sent me in text. Oh wait, no, because you're not on a MacBook, huh?
No.
Oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
He wants a MacBook.
See, you need to come in 2020 get a MacBook, son.
Lauren didn't give me a MacBook for Christmas. Right, Lauren?
Oh snap! Uncensored adults. What? Click that right
You
there.
see that? What is
Click that
that?
uncensored adults. Swipe up. Click that. Click that. She is thick. Click that link. Let me see that story. Gotta be careful screen sharing, bruh.
It's the fakest body I've ever seen in my life.
That's not even a real photo, dude. That's photoshopped as hell. That's why it says people need to stay away from Photoshop. See?
No, it just popped up.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go on here to.
That shit is mad fake. She's trying to be cute.
That was bad. All right, so if I go here, let me just post this thing real quick. Bow. Paste. Why is there no paste? I copy.
Push Control V.
You're right.
There you go. There you go. And now they don't need a password to get in.
Lauren schooling you on Zoom.
Oh, she's probably had to do it a lot because of school and stuff.
Yep.
Lauren?
Hey. Yeah, I had to do it because of I had to do Zoom with sign language, and then middle of this semester, my math teacher went from the platform that that MCC gave them, and then switched to Zoom. And then like a couple days later was like, oh yeah, no, I don't like Zoom anymore.
Oh,
I
look at
went
this.
to Cisco.
Oh, he found his way. We're totally recording right now, just saying.
Oh shoot, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I
you are live to the world, and I'm
Oops.
recording.
Oh, now you tell us. You didn't tell me that shit.
Nah, Z, you gotta assume I am. Why am I acting like a damn newscaster if I'm not recording? Obviously.
Well, now you tell us. See, if you're gonna do this, you gotta start putting out disclaimers. All right, we're recording. Are you okay to
No. This
record?
is the fun part. You never know when it's gonna start. I gotta catch you when you're unexpected because you just went off perfectly well. That was perfect segment. It went well, and now I admitted Nate into the party. How come I can't see his screen?
See, the problem is there is not a reasonable expectation of privacy being respected if you don't let people know they're being recorded. So you gotta let people know that. Disclaimer, bro.
I said I'm gonna record this episode, and I have to get it when you're in the middle of. Okay, you were going off, and I was like, I cannot just let him continue going off without catching some of this right now, right? So I said I'm just gonna hit it, boom, and I got it all raw emotions and all that while you were eating spaghetti and everything.
I'm not gonna lie.
No, that was yakisobe.
With Cardi B in the background.
That's not
just
Cardi
to
B.
freak out.
You did not just call my future wife Cardi B. Get out.
Dad.
Get out of the room.
Dad.
Hey, you realize she gotta divorce me first, right? That's why she's in my background.
Here we go. So if you want to click on your thing so you're only focused on Z, if you can fix it. Shit, hold on.
What? Why are you coming here messing with my stuff?
There we go. There you go. Now you can see him.
Oh, because
Yeah.
you just
She's
saved
trying to
me.
help you out,
I know,
man.
She
She's
really
trying to
just helped
help.
me right now. Thank you.
I'm telling you.
Remember, I couldn't see myself.
Yeah.
You made it to where I could see myself.
Look at there's your
Oh, we can see
See?
Nate too. Oh, Lauren, you're my producer. Producer Lauren, you're in the background on the microphone on the ones and twos.
Oh,
Producer Lauren, telling you, man.
I got you mac and cheese.
Okay.
Where's mac and cheese?
Yeah.
Oh shit, where's my motorcycle? I'm coming to your house to record live.
I'm so excited. Okay, guys, I gotta go. Bye. Peace.
I got my microphone to head over there right now to get some mac and cheese. You can record this in the backyard.
All right, Nate, you got your audio on? 1 2 1 2. Nate, can you hear me? You're in there, man. You figure that part out. You just got to get the mic to working. Nate's been chomping at the bit for weeks to tell me some shit about some shit. He's been trying and trying. Nate raised his hand. Okay, Nate raised his hand. What do I do about that?
I have no idea. We don't raise hands. We just start talking over each other at work usually.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm tapping out. I can't do this talking over people shit. So I'm just sit back here. I'm quiet.
Yeah, you have to have good microphone etiquette. I've been realizing that. I've been having the opportunity to get on with this dude. It's been tight. This guy in Portland who's been in the middle of these in Chaz and Raz and all these things that have been going on in the chop. This guy who's been recording live. I've been following him for a while on Twitter and watching his streams live, and he's in the middle of all these crazy scenarios going on. So I watch him live for a long time, and I'll comment a couple of times, and all of a sudden he started doing live chats, and I get to join those live chats, right? And he's like taking me upon because I have this shit set up. It looks like I have some sort of a professional background when I don't, right? I mean, I just got this going on, and he's like, man, I love the way the whole background looks, and he's been putting me on lately and letting me get some exposure to some people. And I don't know where I was going with that, but Nate, connecting the audio. Oh,
Yeah, got it.
oh, there you
Oh, there he is. All right.
Hey, what up, brother, man? It's been a while since I've seen you, brother. I'm sorry for interrupting some shit.
Oh, you are not interrupting at all, man. It's so great to hear from you.
Man, hey, I wanted to say you're looking good. When I see you on Facebook, man, you're looking good. You lost some weight. I wish I can get there.
Thank you, dude. Yeah, I'm not the same as it was when I was the young fat dude that Chris.
Nah, you wasn't there. Hey, you wasn't never fat. Come on now. You see me. I wasn't there. I was fat. I was big. I was just big. Let's put it that way. I was just big, but I was fat.
You're huge, man. You're of another planet.
Yeah, well, I was huge, but I'm huge. Well, I don't know if huger is the word, but I'm that.
You're just quarantine thick, man. It's quarantine thick.
No,
Quarantine
this
thick?
is
No.
before quarantine.
This is lifetime thick.
Yeah.
Nate,
I didn't have no choice. I was gonna
Right?
be big regardless.
Nate is the biggest man you will ever have met in your lifetime, and
Yeah. Well,
had
no,
a
Chris
twin
was the
brother.
biggest man. I'm second.
Yes, he had a twin brother who's the exact same person, and you wouldn't imagine one man existing on the planet who can block the way this man did. But two of them existing, like what?
Word. That's what's up, man.
Man, I've been trying to do this shit, but I want to talk to you because I know you reach other people than just black folks or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the last time we were on, where you're on, and one of your friends popped up talking about just be nice or whatever.
Yeah.
To the cops when they pull you over or whatever.
Yeah, we got sidelined a little bit.
Yeah, but hey, I wanted to tell you that, if you know me, I give respect, or regardless if you give me none or not. It ain't that. It's just that they see you the way I feel. I don't know. I can just talk for me. Let's talk for me. I can't talk for every black person, but they see me and they automatically consider me a threat before they know me. That's what a lot of black folks, I think, are going through with the cop situation and just people in period. Because I ain't never been in jail. I can tell you that right now. I ain't never been in jail, never been in trouble. Worked since I was 16 years old. That kind of shit.
How many police encounters have you had?
Shit. Too many to count. Remember my mom? I got a Cadillac Escalade coming home from work. There's a car next to me full of white kids bumping. And I got to show them that you ain't got shit, and turn my shit up. And they're parked behind these white kids, the cops. And then I turned my music up to show them that you ain't got shit. And they pull behind me and pull me over. And I happen to have my pistol on me because we're in Arizona and you're allowed to have, a pistol on you. You know what these motherfuckers did? They took my pistol apart, make my ass get on the hot ass ground in fucking like August or something like that. And then they realized here, they gave my gun back in the plastic bag, all taken apart. You know what I did? I put my gun back together right in front of them, and they make sure you put that in your glove box. I know I can't put it in my glove box because that's considered a concealed weapon to you guys. That's what happened to me at 30 years old.
And see, I think a lot of us, like, we were speaking so freely, and like it's
No, it's good though. I like it.
It's easy to speak in general terms and from a perspective where me and this one particular guy you're speaking of, we were saying, man, if you just approach these people with respect, well,
But
people like you are tired of hearing shit like that. You're tired of hearing. If I just respect, we've seen videos over and over again of
not
people.
videos. I've been through it over and over again. They're not videos.
Personally.
Yeah.
So it's hard for someone, but we're speaking from our perspective, which is way different from your perspective, which sucks. And it's like, for me, I can speak on it a little bit because I grew up in the midst of it all.
You're around us,
Yeah. But hey, seriously, if I think about what we were doing, how we grew up.
That's fine. You know how it goes in the streets, and if you're black especially, if you treat a man with respect, he's gonna in turn treat you with respect. If you come all sideways with any man, you should expect, I ain't gonna be all nice to you because you came all crazy to me just because you got a badge and a gun. I might not have a badge, but I got a gun. You know what I mean?
Hey, that search and that hunt for respect seems to come a lot quicker with certain individuals than it does with others.
And you're right. And that comes with being. I'm sorry that a lot of Anglo Americans don't know that, but most black folks, we grew up hard. Most black folks, especially in Arizona and probably some other states, it was hard. Projects and all that other good shit. And if you don't have respect, you don't got nothing. And that's why we're killing each other, because we ain't scared of white people. We ain't scared of Mexicans. We're scared of the cops because they got guns. But other than that, we're more intimidated by other black people than we are about anybody else. Now I'm speaking for me, and I know I'm speaking for some other people too. I'm more intimidated by another black guy than I am by any fucking white guy or any Mexican or whatever. That's why I wanted to get, and we need to stop doing that shit. You know what I mean?
The craziest thing that I've been through is being pulled over and pulled out of a car at gunpoint by the state gang task force. Ask questions like, do you have a job?
Me, Matthew, Gouda, my brother, and my cousin, we used to call them jump out boys. They used to come in these damn vans. And when we lived in the projects, and he just jump out on us. And we can be standing right in front of the fucking house, right in front of my grandma's house, or my aunt's, it ain't her house, but in the projects, whatever. We can be standing out just chilling, and jump out and just beat her ass. And my grandma or my mom our mom had to come out and hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Those are my kids. Or they're just sitting in front of the house. Because we're bigger than most people, me and Chris. At 10 years old, we're probably as big as most Mexicans.
Well, yeah, and you're outside, so obviously you're up to no good. You're doing something wrong because you're sitting on the front porch.
Yeah, we're sitting on the front porch. Yeah. But that's what I wanted to talk to you about. But like, I'm the same as you. You're the same as me. I feel that I ain't, if don't start no shit, won't be no shit. That's how I feel.
Right.
And I ain't gonna use my size to my advantage or nothing. The reason I hit you because you hit me first. That's who I am. And they got to realize that all black people ain't the same. I ain't all aggressive like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was explaining it to a friend of mine. So I had a conversation with a friend of mine who was like, just stop resisting, just comply and be polite, etc. And the cops won't fuck with you, you won't get shot and whatnot. And I had to explain to him. I was like, okay, so let me give you a scenario really quick. If you're in my house, we're sitting in the living room, and I point out the window in the backyard and I say, "There's a tiger out there." And you're like, "Okay, I got to go in the backyard." I was like, "Well, there's a tiger out there, right?" Are you just going to run out there and be like, "Oh, cool," and pet the tiger? Or are you going to go out there with a little bit of caution, right? You're going to be cautious, right?
Yeah.
You're automatically going to be like on guard and defense and be like, "Oh shit, I better kind of figure out a plan. I better approach this situation cautiously," right? It's like in America, police are the guests that's sitting in the living room, and black people are the tiger. Like off the rip, we're seen as this dangerous animal, so we get approached differently. That's why you have a situation where a white dude can be carrying a rifle or pointing a rifle and threatening the cops with a weapon and be apprehended. Whereas a black dude in Tucson with mental health issues can be laying on the ground with his hands up and get shot.
Yes, and still get
right?
shot.
Because it's because we're seen as a threat. We're seen as an animal. We're not seen as human beings. If you watch like the movie Suicide Squad, one of the things that I hated about that movie is they turned everybody, like all the humans were turned into these like rock people, these monsters.
Yeah.
Then that makes it okay for all the the heroes in that movie to go just kill them all and whatnot. And they point that out, which
at the end of the day, they're humans, and it's not their fault that they're like that.
Yeah, and they pointed out at one point, Will Smith's character was like, why is this monster wearing a Rolex? Like, this used to be a person. What the hell, right? And they kind of figured out like halfway through. But that's like the movie version of the desensitization that happens. Like, so when they're talking about, the sensitivity training and things like that, and you hear things like systemic racism and things that are ingrained in American society, that's what happens. Like, American society has been trying to look at us like animals, and then they hunt us down.
Do you believe in systemic racism?
Do I? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because I swear, because I never been in trouble. I never stole from nobody. I worked since the day my birthday's on December 24th. On December 26th, I was at work. At the age of 16, making fucking $3.75 an hour. I ain't never stole nothing. My mom was a nurse / psychologist. I didn't need nothing. I didn't need for nothing. If I wanted something, all I gotta do is ask for it. All black people ain't fucking drug dealers. They all just because I smoke weed don't mean I'm selling it.
Right.
So systemic racism topic to get on.
Yeah.
Deep-rooted systemic racism.
Hold up, James, Mr. Caucasian.
I have to hold the conversation. I just have to facilitate the conversation, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, like, do you believe it's that systemic racism is a thing?
I mean, to be honest, I would say, I mean, as a simple answer, no. I would say no.
Yeah, because it ain't you. You can say no because it don't happen to you.
Right.
Everybody can say no. If it didn't happen to me, I wouldn't say systemic racism is this either. I ain't talking about because we were slaves and all that shit. I'm talking about that you see a black man, you automatically think he's a bad guy, or he's gonna, here goes one of those niggers.
Wait. But that's not systemic racism. So systemic.
I know.
Give me a good explanation.
You automatically think that what's systemic racism? What's your opinion of whatever racism?
Like that it's deep rooted in the system, that you're set up to fail, that there's people working.
No. Hell no. Okay. Let me say a different thing. Hell no. Because I was in the ghettos, and yes, it's easy to get into that selling drugs because you need money for food and all that. It's easier to get into that because if you ever had nothing to eat for a couple of days, and I can go out there for an hour and I can pay the rent and whatever for an hour, most people are going to do that because that's what it is.
Right.
Supply and demand, I should say.
Right.
There's people out there want it. And I got it. I'm gonna give it to them.
Right.
But it's easier to get into that. But you can be, I don't care, black, white, Asian, whatever. You can be whatever you want to be. You just gotta what's the word for it? The word is live past what you are, or what your situation. You can rise above your situation. You
Yeah.
can. It's possible.
And in
But
America, it's never been more possible ever than it is now. No matter what color you are. But I am
it
not
is harder.
somebody who
It is
denies.
harder. It
I'm
is
not.
harder. I'll tell you that right now. That it is harder.
I'm not somebody who denies the generational undercard that so many people have been dealt, and that's black and white people and Mexican people. Like there's different levels of where we all started at. Like we're all supposed to have the same starting position and have
but you can't have the same starting position when you're starting from behind already, when your ancestors were killed because they know how to read.
So that's kind of what
I if your mom don't know how to read, how the fuck are you supposed to learn how to read?
So I agree with that.
You live in the ghetto.
I agree with that fully.
Yeah,
that's
what I'm talking about.
So
that's
like
what systemic racism is to me.
Okay.
You know, where you already start from the floor. You don't start from, the first floor. You start from the basement.
Okay, so let me say what the difference to me is, where you say that itself is systemic racism. That's a different starting point. The systems itself, if you yourself strive in a way that stands out, which is so much harder for someone like you and I both, where we grew up together.
Yeah, the way you talk, the way you
you have to be better, and you have to do these things, but you have a better chance at that than any other country in the history of mankind, in this country that we live in right now.
And that is fucking correct.
It's crazy, because imagine how hard it would be in other lifetimes, in other countries in the past. You're a serf. You're birthed into serfdom, and you're trying to come up through classes. It was impossible. Today, man, if you really focus on if imagine if me and you focused on our shit every day, and we didn't get made fun of for trying to be intelligent and trying to get good grades. We could have been something more than we are right now. A lot better, easier than any other country. I do not deny the fact that you started at a harder spot than maybe somebody who grew up in the Arcadia district that was up the street from us. That's obvious.
And then, and I want to talk about the family thing too. If I had a dad, or even my mom was there. I had a mom all my life, but she had to work 2 jobs, and she wasn't, when we got home from practice or school, she wasn't there. So we're left to our own devices. And as kids, what are you gonna do when you're left to your own shit? You're gonna do what you want to do when you're left to your own devices, instead of having somebody say, "Hey, do your homework. Hey, you gotta do this." I never had that.
But you kind of stayed on your stuff more. I mean, I feel like you were more responsible than most people left in the position that you were left in. Like you,
just because my mom was so strong. That's what I don't get about a lot of black, because most black moms are really strong. They usually most of us grew up with, fathers in jail or absentee father. That's all I understand why a lot of black folks are, even Mexicans too, and white folks too. Even though you didn't have a dad, I hate that excuse that a lot of people use to say that, I didn't have my dad. My dad wasn't there. I don't like that excuse, because I did good. I'm all right. I bought 2 houses already, and I'm good. And I came from the bottom of the bottom, I don't like that excuse where people use. But I do believe that some certain groups are treated better than other groups. Put it that way.
You want to say something, Z, before I go off?
So, a couple things that I noticed that are really interesting about this.
Yes.
First off, comparing the United States and its current conditions to other countries and saying, well, it could be worse because this country is like this or this country is like that, doesn't justify the shit, doesn't make it any better.
Yeah.
When you talk about things like systemic racism, stuff like redlining keeps people who have an education and who do everything they're supposed to do, that might be minorities, from buying a house. And if you buy a house,
Yes.
you're
Yes.
like 30% or more likely to, or you're more likely going to end up selling your house for 30% less value
That-
if a black person is in the photo of that house. Statistically proven.
I got
I'm
something
glad
for
you
you.
Not
know
only
that.
that, but
I'm
there's a
glad you
lot
know
of
that.
places where if you're black, buying a house in a black neighborhood isn't a thing that people don't do. So even if you get the chance to break out of that stereotype and do something like get successful and purchase a house, when you get to sell that house, you're going to be able to sell it for less money than you would if you were white or if it was in a white neighborhood, simply because of where the other people live. Those are some of the things, some of the ways that systemic racism shows itself in
Yes,
America today.
yes.
So yeah, you
I-
can
I-
bust your ass and pull yourself up by your bootstraps and follow the playbook and work harder than everybody else and be the well-spoken, magical tap dancing
At the
Negro in
end of the day,
society.
you're still a nigger. At the end
Right.
of the day.
And you still get that big nice house. And then when you say, well, it's time to upgrade and move to something else because I got this great 6-figure job out at Cisco or at Intel or whatever the case may be after I got my PhD in physics or some shit. You go to sell that house, they're still going to be like, well, we're only give you like 60% of what it's worth because you're black. Systemic racism.
So
And that's how
that's
it's built into the system.
I
Because
work.
people
funny,
look
'cause
at black neighborhoods and say, oh, it's a black neighborhood, so there's going to be higher crime off the bat, even though that black neighborhood is nothing but $1 million houses.
So redlining is a sin of the past that does not exist any longer. Will we not exist?
I disagree.
So I work for a major financial institution who this would have been accused upon many years ago. All major banks,
People are getting hit for that in 2020, right?
I'm
Yeah.
sure there are. There are. But hear me out.
Major banking institutions are being hit for this in 2020. So it's not a sin of the past that it's happening this year.
Major?
If it's happening this year, it's not a sin of the past, is it?
No.
If I steal $100 from you
banks?
tonight, is that a sin of the past?
We're talking about credit unions and places we've never heard about. There's not Wells Fargo, Bank of America, or Chase Bank.
No, hold on. You can't justify it by the size of the institution. If it's happening in an institution in this era, today, this year, it's not a sin of the past.
But
it used to happen. It doesn't happen at all anymore. If it's still
an example,
you can't call it a sin of the past.
But an example
that is what happens, and that's an example of what happens when the shit gets downplayed. When you downplay the stuff that's happening, it continues. And you say, well, it's not happening as a sin of the past because the 3 big banks don't do it anymore. That doesn't do anything because a lot of black people can't even get loans from the 3 big banks. So you're blocked out of that off the bat. So
not because of the color of their skin.
Huh?
Not because of the color of their
Wells
skin.
Fargo have been hit for doing it because of the color of their skin. Wells Fargo hit with that twice. Millions in fines for that shit this century.
Working for these companies.
10 years. In the last 10 years, Wells Fargo's been hit twice.
Working for these companies, you get to understand the level of wokeness that I conduct my business at. Okay. If anything of the sort were ever sniffed out by any person on any level, you would lose your life, let alone your job in these major industries. Major corporations have become the most woke. I mean, I got Black Lives Matter stuff all over my computer screen at work.
Okay, go ahead.
That doesn't make you woke.
No,
you know how much a Black Lives Matter t-shirt costs?
No,
doesn't mean shit. You know how many people post up Black Lives Matter and change their profile picture on Twitter and Facebook and don't do shit about it and won't tell their racist friend to shut the fuck up at Thanksgiving dinner? Won't tell their racist uncle he's a racist asshole, he needs to get the fuck out?
Yes.
You know how many Black Lives Matter friends I have that say Black Lives Matter and still say racist shit? You just told me systemic racism is a sin of the past. You just told me redlining is a sin of the past, and I'm telling you it's happened this year. And then you justified it by saying it's not a large bank. Because that's definitely not woke.
Okay, no, but
denying it's still happening in this year is not woke, man.
I can't cite one case of it happening this year because of my lack of understanding, possibly. Okay. But hear me out. The only reason I'm saying that is because I conduct on a certain level to where I know how hard they fight against this from happening, from even the possibility of the sense of something like that occurring would cause so many heads to roll. The major banks in this country, and I'm not just talking about the major 3, all the ones that you're bringing up, if they have happened this year or even in the last 5 years, I would be shocked if it wasn't like smaller credit unions or smaller state banks that haven't put their shit together and they're operating on some shady sort of business operation. Major banks like I work for, man, it's hammered into our head, and it's a great thing. These people have woke up and
they're bro, I'm sorry, they're awakening, but they ain't woke up.
oh, they're woke, man. You should see who runs my boss's boss is the coolest younger black lady on the planet, man. And she's got the whole company.
She's a minion.
Dude.
The boss is the one that's sitting in the mansion. She may got a big house, but she ain't in the mansion.
Oh, she's running shit right now though.
But she ain't the boss.
James,
she
pull
may
up
be
Twitter. Pull up Twitter and search for hashtag banking while black.
Oh, wait. Okay, let's talk about it.
Get on Twitter and pull up banking while black.
Do you believe generation wealth is her family gonna be rich for the next 3 generations? They're gonna have money for the next 3 generations, or is her boss gonna have next 3 generations?
Oh, no.
They ain't gotta worry about it.
Oh man, don't put her on that small of a level, man. This lady that the particular one.
I don't know. I'm asking.
She's got generational money going right now. We don't have to get on that. It's on a personal level, but the CEO of Chase, who happens to be a white man, is an amazing person. And what he's implemented within our company, you would be super proud of. And every single person that I know that's aware of the situation is. And I don't know how smaller banks operate and stuff, but okay. So I'm on the screen. You guys can see here where I've looked up banking while black.
Question: is Wells Fargo a smaller bank?
No,
not.
They've been around for hundreds of years, I think.
And they're the shadiest bank on the planet.
Yeah, yes, there is.
So if Wells Fargo is racially profiling people and calling the police trying to cash $200 checks because they don't think this black person can have a $200 check, doesn't that seem like something that shouldn't be happening in 2020? That doesn't sound like a sin of the past that happened this year, right?
What?
Yeah, it shouldn't happen.
That's not on my screen, right? It's something else we're talking about.
Nope.
No,
I'm trying to
talking about life.
No. I'm just trying to. He was bringing that particular story up for a reason. I'm sure it's got to be.
Yeah. No, I don't see it. Let me see. But I just wanted to get a black perspective that all black people ain't bad. Don't treat us all the same. Right. Just because I have a gun doesn't mean I'm out to I'm going to do a drive-by or whatever. I maybe just came from the shooting range. You know, that's my thing.
Oh, I got a great shooting range story. I love the shooting range.
The shooting range.
I just sent you a link in the chat, James.
Okay.
Pull up your chat and pull up that link. This is an article from June of 2020.
Chat, boom.
Was that Lloyd's? I can't read.
All right, I'm pulling this up.
Oh, that's Britain. They don't count.
Banking while black, how cashing a check can be a minefield. Who is this written by? The New York Times?
Correct.
1619 Project, New York Times?
Oh, okay. I see is that your boss or what's that?
No, she's not the one. Black customers risk being racially profiled on everyday visits to bank branches. Under federal laws, there is little recourse as long as the banks ultimately complete their transactions.
Yeah.
I feel Clarice Middleton shook with fear as she stood on the sidewalk outside a Wells Fargo branch in Atlanta one December morning in 2018. Moments earlier, she had tried to cash a $200 check, only to be accused of fraud by 3 branch employees who then called 911. Miss Middleton, who is black, remembers thinking, I don't want to die. For many black Americans, going to the bank can be a fraught experience. Something as simple as trying to cash a check or open a bank account can lead to suspicious employees summoning the police, causing anxiety and fear, and sometimes even physical danger for the accused customers. There is no data on how frequently the police are called on customers who are making legitimate everyday transactions. The phenomenon has its own social media hashtag banking while black. Most people who experience an episode of racial profiling don't report it, lawyers say. Some find it easier to engage in private settlement negotiations. The few who sue, as Miss Middleton did, are unlikely to win in court because of loopholes in the law. Now the police killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis, which set off nationwide protests against systemic racism, is prompting more people to speak up.
I got something to speak about. I had this lawyer for 10 years. And you know how when you get a check, you get the little stamp on it or whatever. And he didn't send this woman a stamp. I got escorted out the fucking bank because and I got mad. I was like, hey, that's my money. Give my money. And they took my check, and I had to fight that for 2 months to get my check because they didn't have a stamp on it or whatever, or seal on the check. So does that happen to everybody, or does it happen to, us? I won't say minorities, but us black folks.
Well, working in the bank for 10 years in multiple different branches, never once has such an occurrence happened, and that's very small.
Yeah, I know, but it happens. It don't matter.
Hell yeah, it happens.
It don't matter if it's small. It happens, but it happened to me.
I'm sure it happened. Oh yeah. No, you asked me if it happens, and I'm just never once. It's anecdotal. It's all anecdotal. Kind of small time. You can't. I'm sure. Hell yeah, that happens to people. My coworker, who works at a different branch, who's a good friend of us that at one point I talked to him last year, and it was a completely different story in life, man. He felt like he was so under attack, and he's not a black man. He's of a different skin type, but
multi-generational
ethnicity.
Hispanic ethnicity.
There you go. There you go.
He's Hispanic, dude, and he felt like he was so under attack in life that he told me of multiple customers every time he made it seem like it was so prevalent that he's being berated on a constant basis for his ethnicity, and it was scary to hear from him how he doesn't even want to go out anywhere anymore, and he doesn't want to go do anything. This was all before quarantine even, but he was like, we just kind of lay low nowadays. We don't really want to go anymore out because we're just afraid. I swear to God to you all, the media has got us feeling this way on purpose, and they are overplaying us in a way to make us all feel scared to go out and hang out with the people we've always gone and hung out with for all these years. I don't know if something's changed in the spirit of people in the last 5 years, but I don't feel like that. I feel like they've really they spotlight all the shady shit, and they really make it seem like that's how all of us are running around. They got James.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
People have definitely changed in the last 5 years. First off. Second off, blaming the media for shit is basically saying I no longer have the capability to critically think for myself. I'm going to suspend my own intelligence and just say, well, the TV said it, so I'm gonna go with it. Fuck that. That is bullshit.
The TV said it, so it's true.
That's complete bullshit. You can't tell me that somebody watched something on the New York Times or read something on the New York Times or watched something on CNN and suddenly they can't think for themselves anymore. No, that you're just getting fucking lazy. That's just that's a throwaway excuse that people like to use, so they don't have to.
Because I work with the public.
That's fake news. That's fake news.
Because I work with the public on a constant basis, and I get interaction with people tons of people on a daily basis. Where I don't know if you can quite understand what that means, but 30-minute conversations over and over again, all day, every day, where it's not in passing. It's not just quick conversation. I get to hear the overreactions of people's feelings that they get from the news media. And I'm sorry that you may have a different, you may think, not me, James is not changing his mind and feeling certain ways because the news media. I know that the overwhelming majority of public of Americans who are simple-minded and do fall for simple shit that the media feeds them, will fall for these things on a much easier basis than they should. They don't. I think we've all been put into a place where we've all been hidden in our own houses for ourselves for a long time, and they're like, everyone separate. I'm almost scared to go to a show. Should I not go out to a show where there's going to be a bunch of people who listen to house music, who I've always partied with for all this time, are going to be more leftist leaning people? I'm not going to feel that way. I know everything will be just fine when we can get back to normal on this shit. But I promise you, the feeling of certain people feeling like I can't hang out with certain people anymore, it's unfounded, man.
Yeah,
you're making us feel this way.
Listen, James. James, listen real quick. I don't care if you're for fucking, you're a Republican, you're a Democrat, you're independent, or whatever. If you're my friend, you're always gonna be my friend. I don't care, what side you go on, but there ain't no sides for me.
Right.
You're my friend, no matter what. No matter what. I may not agree with your opinions, but that's what America is.
That's right.
That we're allowed to have different opinions from somebody else or other people. So I don't agree with that leftist and rightist or whatever. We're all, at the end of the day, we're all working to pay the damn taxes. No matter who you are, Democrat or Republican, we're all working to pay taxes. I know Democrats want to give more money and Republicans want to give less money. That's what I know about. That's as much as I know about fucking the politics shit. All I know is if we're friends, we should be able to talk about it, and let's talk about it.
Hell yeah. That's right.
That's all I know.
Thank you. And thank you
We're
for
all
saying that.
Oh yeah.
You're saying the same thing I'm saying, James.
But I just kind of try to put it in a simplified. But hey, I do miss you. Hey, when this shit's over, James, when this shit's over, I gotta make you I'm gonna make you a brisket or whatever. We gotta hang out because I missed you a little bit, man.
Oh man.
Because I remember girls over your house a couple times and all that shit. I just want to hang out and fucking because I haven't hang out because I've been on some not bullshit, but my brother, my mom, my grandma, my father-in-law, all that passing within a year of each other. So it's like 5 people I think passed within a year of everything, and it's like The Rock. You know how it is. And just I've been on my drinking and doing what I do, shit. But I do want to hang out with all the old fucking the old heads, the Wu-Tang Clan. We're into Wu-Tang. You can't say you weren't into Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang forever.
I love it, man. Thank you so much for saying all that. And
remember rolling down Mill in your mom's van?
I got a system in the minivan.
Yeah. Hey, but we thought we were the shit too.
Oh man.
That's funny.
I think we should catch up soon. And I would love to do that.
Oh, go ahead.
I would love to catch up soon with you. And I hope that we can start to getting back to normal life so that we can go out together somehow, have a drink somewhere, or just what side of town you on?
No, just come to my house. We'll social distance. And I got all the drink, and I got like 3 barbecue pits. We're good.
Have you watched any of my smoke? I smoke meats and stuff. Have you watched any of my smoking videos?
Yeah, yes, I have. The chicken wings you made look fucking bomb.
Yes, thank you, man.
I wanted some.
It's crazy if you brine chicken in pickle juice.
Yes, because the salt. Yeah, yes.
That's the craziest thing I've ever. And I thought it was too much. I was like, man, you can kind of taste the pickles in it. And I took it to work, and all the girls at work were like, no, that pickle taste for some reason is so good in the background.
Yeah. Bring you back to pickles and Kool-Aid.
Ah.
A salito.
Okay. Yep. All right. So I'm recording this video. it was supposed to be a more of a, I see I have all these things lined up, and I knew if I got you two into this conversation, I was gonna get
I'm sorry, we went left. I'm sorry,
don't
right?
be
Or
sorry.
whatever it is.
No. Hey, first, we don't be sorry because we've been waiting to have this conversation. It needs to be first before anything else really needs to be said. So I don't even think we've touched the surface of it yet.
No, not really.
Really? I know. I think, dude, first of all, this is not the only thing that we need to know how to talk about. First of all, we need to know how to talk about bigger things, but I shouldn't say that because to you, it may be like, no, motherfucker, this is the most important thing in my life.
No, okay, no, wait, why are we talking about you? Why are you bringing it up? Let's talk about it. Fuck that, not fuck that Black Lives Matter, but it isn't
the corporation.
Like a lot of white folks I know that they think that, oh, it's all about black. Don't we give them enough? It ain't about. We just want the same thing that you got. When we get pulled over, we want the same thing to happen when you get pulled over, or white people get pulled over, to happen when we get pulled over. We shouldn't have to be thrown on the ground every time or whatever. Especially, I got a nice car, brother. I got Cadillac Escalade. I got a nice car. Why am I black ass on the ground? I know I didn't do nothing wrong. I know I just got off work. I'm just trying to go home. And because my music was a little too loud for you, I gotta get on the ground. Why? And I never seen a white videos or anything. I never seen a white person have to get on the ground. And I know black folks ain't the only people that have loud music in their cars, amplified music, you say, in their car. Soon as that shit happened, where you treat us all the same, then we can leave that Black Lives Matter alone. When we're all treated the same, that's all we want. It ain't about fucking we want more than what you got. We're trying to get the same thing you got, and then we want, or not we, me, I want more. Because it's fucked up. It's fucked up. I shouldn't have to.
Teach your sons how proper etiquette is, and
but why should I talk like you? Why should or talk like you want me to talk? Why can't I talk the way I want to talk?
Right. That's right. And that, man, that's
just because I cuss at you, don't give you the right to fucking hit me on the head with a billy club just because I cuss at you. Just because I disrespect you by words. I didn't put my hands on you. I said, fuck you. What the fuck? I ain't do nothing. Don't mean you can automatically put me on my car. Just gotta say, fuck you. I didn't do nothing. Don't give you the right to pull you out of the car just because you got a gun in the badge. This is what Black Lives attempted to start, I think. We just want the same thing. Want the same thing everybody else got. We're all human. We're not 10% of human. We're all equal. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. I don't fuck what everybody else is talking about.
That's right. And
over the summer, I heard somebody say, "Just be glad that black people are asking for equality and not revenge."
Because I guarantee you, I know, if black people were like Mexicans, you'd be in trouble. Most white folks be in trouble. The only problem with
when it comes to having kids, you mean, or what?
Not kids. Not kids. Not about kids.
I thought you meant like spreading the seeds or something. Like
no. I'm talking about where we can get along with each other. You can have 10 Mexicans live in the house and not be no problems. You can have 2 fucking black folks be in the house, but I have no problems. I paid more than this. I went to go get the fucking water. I bought this. So that's the only problem with fucking black folks, I think. We always worry about who pays more, and not we. Let me start saying we. I'm talking for me. Yeah. I can't talk for all black kind. The way I see it is that like we're always worried about us. We're always worried about black folks instead of fucking getting together and buying up some shit, buying up property, buying up whatever. We're always worried about who pays more. That's why I see black folks' problem.
Okay, so you're
saying
that's
one of many.
You're saying if they could get along the same way where many
Mexicans get along, where
live together,
we all pay the same amount. Here we go. We're all good. We can't do that. That's the problem we have.
There's different. The difference.
We run faster, jump higher, and we are intelligent if you want to believe it or not. Believe it or not, we are intelligent. We're just stuck on stupid.
Well,
And
like
that's what
Z
I can.
said, Z made an intelligent statement right now. He said people should just be glad that people are not looking for revenge, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we all know, okay, that's the number one fear of the white man, right? As Malcolm X said, as Malcolm X told us, he said what the and as I he said, and not only him, what's his name?
Mr. Farrakhan said it too.
Elijah Farrakhan said it was actually him. I shouldn't say Malcolm X said it. I'm sure he did actually. I'm sure
he did say it.
Okay, that what you're really afraid of is that one day we'll rise to power and do to you what you did to us one day.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's happening, but it's the
saying
Mexicans.
that.
The Mexicans is doing it to you now. The Mexicans gonna rise up on your asses pretty soon.
So let me ask you guys one question.
What do you want to say?
Let me ask you guys one question about that, because it's true. It's something, because I'm a deep thinker, right? I thought about, damn, what if one day your white race is not in the majority, right? This is something that you should think about. How does it feel to be in the minority? You don't know what it feels like to be, you're in the majority, James, and you're by a long run, there's hundreds of millions more of you. What would it be like to be in the minority? That itself is an intimidating
situation for you.
Yeah, that's an intimidating feeling, that you guys, that's not something that's a normal white person's going to think about on a daily.
Yeah.
So I thought about that one day, and I thought about a lot of people. Well, okay, so is the white man afraid of one day this could be put upon him? Well, we're so far out of that, that spectrum changing, that it's not even in our lifetime. That'll never happen when it comes to the numbers part of it. But let me ask you guys a question.
Hey, look at the numbers. There's more Mexicans than there are white people.
That's gonna happen within 20 more years from now. We already know 2040. That's gonna be a thing. But when it comes,
I say 10, not 20, because they Mexicans
the black
reproduce more.
population having more abortions in New York City, being born. This is not going to happen for the black population anytime soon. So what I was thinking about one day was, when I hear people on, everyday people, black people, everyday people, the way that they speak about these things, the way the feeling of hatred in a lot of these videos I've been watching that aren't normal videos that are out there on an everyday basis, they wish for that day to come. A lot of these people, a lot of the people protesting and rioting within the Black Lives Matter movements, and I'm just observing, guys. I'm not saying anything about how I feel, just observing. I see how a young black man would love the opportunity to show you white people what you did to us one day, and really, let's see how you feel about it. Let me show you what it was. And even though they haven't experienced themselves, the feeling is still there, which I completely understand. But we shouldn't be aiming for, hopefully we can we can do that to the white people one day, what they did to us. Hopefully I think liberals want that to happen. They want to self-flagellate. They want to whip themselves across the back and make themselves go through the pain that their ancestors once portrayed upon the Africans. Okay. I think that conservatives.
I want to tell you something about that. No, let me talk real quick.
Okay.
Hold
up. Let me just finish
go
the
ahead,
other side. Let me just finish the other side. I'm on a political talk show. This is what I have to keep it as. Okay. On the left side, this is how a lot of liberals portray things. They want to be self-flagellating. They want to punish themselves for what their ancestors did. The right, the real conservatives, real everyday conservatives, just want everyone to get along. They want to live by the means of Martin Luther King. They want to say everybody not judged on the basis of their skin color, but by the basis of their character and things of that nature. That's how the basis of the right is supposed to feel. And I hope that can, over time, start to really show itself. And I promise you, over the next couple of years, you're both going to start seeing that.
Why is it that every time you start talking about the left and the right, the left always gets shit on and the right is always just the good guys doing what they're supposed to do?
Because the
How
left,
come
Yeah,
you leave
he has a
out?
point
How come
there.
you leave out things like the right just wants everybody to be equal, but they shit on the LGBTQ population on a regular basis?
okay,
How come that kind of stuff gets left out?
I have a
Why
defense
why
for all
can't you
of
just
that.
let me live?
I have a
That's what he's
defense.
talking
I
about.
have
Why
a
can't you just let me
defense
live?
for all of that, though. I have a defense for what you just said, Z, and I have a defense for my feeling that the left is trying to destroy this country, and I feel like that, and I'll say it over and over again. And it's not because I'm some team player on the right. It's from years and years of observation, and now I'm starting to understand a lot more than I ever did before about what Republicans are and what the right is. And this is all changing. There's a shift occurring. If anybody who is paying attention, you know the shift that occurred from right to left in the 30s and the 40s and whatnot that happened at that time. There's another shift occurring, and it's much more blurry. It's not as obvious as are these people racist or not, switching sides. There's a much deeper thing happening here when it comes to globalism and corporatism. And I hate sounding like Alex Jones talking about globalism right now, but damn it, dude, I'm starting to feel it. I'm starting to understand the difference in people who we're not, the fear of government is not as scary anymore as the fear of corporate takeovers is the right used to be afraid of a big government, right? Now we're afraid of big corporations taking over, and they're creating slaves of all of us. So that, yes, I feel the left is perpetrating that, and I feel the right is fighting against that, except
Do you
for
remember? Remember Too Big to Fail? You remember that?
yeah,
Too Big to Fail. You
yeah,
remember that?
oh yeah,
That's corporation. They're too big to fail.
right.
So we got to give them a $3 billion bailout, but us fucking working slobs get shit $1,000 or $1,200. You know
What you're
what the fuck?
saying is a
That
conservative thing and a very right-handed thing to say, and I agree with you
no, but
fully. And you don't know it,
I see the
but you're
rich get
spouting
richer
conservative.
without helping.
You're
Hey,
spouting conservative
money should roll
policies. I'm just going to
downhill.
throw that out.
It shouldn't start at the top. It should start from the bottom. That's a rightist or leftist. I don't know what the fuck it is.
Too
But
big to fail is a socialist construct.
I don't know politics.
I know.
But they,
I know. That's what I'm here
I
for,
know they bailed
baby.
out the banks. I
Yo,
know they bailed
son,
out the banks.
that's what I'm here
They didn't
for.
send me no money. They didn't send me no money.
I
But
know,
they bailed out the
Nate.
banks.
That's what
That's what I'm talking about.
doing. That's the whole point of my show right now. Is this?
I know. I'm just trying to put my 2 cents in. But why bail out the
Okay,
banks?
so
Bail out the people. Don't bail out the banks. Bail out the people, the working slobs like us.
Okay, Z, what do you
Working
got to
slob.
say? Go, Z.
so
Go
I got
ahead,
another
go
question.
I need another beer.
Why is it that it's okay to generalize the left and say the left is doing this and conservatives do or liberals are doing this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and shit on the left, and then complain about black people who want to put all white people into a category and do with them what they've done to us in this country? If you're going to play generalizations, why is it not fair to play generalizations across the board?
Okay, you have to repeat that one more time because I want to understand fully what you just said, because I'm like that and I want to really know what you said. One more time.
I want to think about it.
Why is it okay for you to generalize the left and liberals and the left and the liberals are trying to destroy the country and they're all evil, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera?
Generalizing, yes.
But it's also not okay for a black person to generalize and say all white people are evil and I should be able to do with them what they did to us.
Because I think it's such a small percentage that it's unfair to generalize that. When I think about the left, I think it's a huge percentage, and not all of them, and not everyday people, not you, not the people that I meet on an everyday basis that voted for Joe Biden just because Donald Trump is disgusting. Not everybody. I'm generalizing, and thank you for recognizing that. And I think it's unfair. The statement you made, the latter half of that statement, is very unfair to say white people are all evil. I mean, I walked around understanding the devil. You know, I walked around as if the white man is the devil as when I was younger too. And I grew up to understand there's way more white people in this world than I ever understood. And the major portion of them are not that way. And that's why I feel that that's unfair.
So because you disagree with one point, you think it's unfair. but the conversation is about being able to generalize. Why is it that it's okay to generalize some things and not the other? You say it's because of one group is larger than the other and it's based on percentages. So where do you draw the line and say, okay, there's a certain percentage, once you hit this threshold, this part, because remember, my job is data analytics and business analysis. Once you get to a certain threshold, it's okay to generalize versus it's not okay to generalize.
Because I believe
I think there are a
generalization.
lot more Black people than you think that are sick of the shit that's been going on with Black people in this country. We just don't talk about it because one of the things that historically Black people have been taught for centuries
We keep it under
is
the
to
cover.
turn the other cheek. Turn the
Yeah.
other cheek. That's one of the things we were taught by slave owners when we were taught Christianity. Make sure that you learn Christianity. Teach the savages Christianity because they turn the other cheek. And when Black people
Yeah.
turn the other cheek continuously, we can keep fucking them over. And then when they decide they're going to get upset, being mad at us for stepping on your neck is not okay because you're supposed to be a good Christian and turn the other cheek. I think that's the misconception a lot of people have on one level. On another level, I think a lot of Black people function that way. But at some point, they're going to be like, you know what? We're sick of this shit. We've been having the same problem for decades. Think about it. NWA made Fuck the Police. Why is that music video still relevant today? Why are we still having these same conversations? Why does every news article that comes out every week still look like Rodney King in the 90s? And why is it that every time we protest, it's the same shit as it was during the civil rights movement? But every time we do something, it's you're not doing it right. You're not doing it right. You're not doing it right. Well, we keep trying the shit that you tell us is right and nothing changes. So when that keeps happening and nothing changes, yeah, you get pissed off. Then we're taught, well, you shouldn't be mad because being mad isn't Christian. You're not turning the other cheek and being Christian. And now there's a small percentage, so I can generalize that small percentage, but there's a larger percentage and it's okay to generalize them, but you shouldn't be able to generalize me the same way. That doesn't add up, man. You got to, like we were saying, we're talking about equality. If you're going to have equality, it's got to be okay across the board.
Because I feel to generalize.
Same shit across the board.
Because I feel to generalize, you have to have an overwhelming majority of those people do this certain thing. So when we generalize, we usually think the overwhelming majority of these certain people do this certain thing. I don't, and I know, I don't even, it's not even a doubt. The numbers, the statistics don't speak towards what we're talking about. And that's one thing, Z, you'll be happy to know, I fight against on a daily basis. I'll say to you,
there are statistics that show how many Black people want revenge against white people for the shit that's happening in this country. That's a statistic.
No,
nobody has ever asked me that question.
No. I'm saying the statistics, the numbers of that the right that conservatives will spout all day to disprove your claim. I know reality. So I know to what they're saying is not true. Okay. So this is where I listen to people who I believe almost every word that's coming out of their mouth. I'm just saying that to be for conversation's sake. But
like what?
Wait, no. I'm saying on a general basis, me and these people will agree with everything. But then they start
talking about that. You're talking about numbers. The statistics you're talking about. The statistics about what?
Like how many black men were unarmed black men were killed by the police in 2019. Okay, that's the number. Do you know what that number is? Would you guess that that's in the hundreds? Would you guess that that's in the thousands? No, you probably know just as well as I do. It was 9. There was 9 people, 9 black men.
Recorded. Make sure you put that recorded.
Okay.
9 black people. I'm pretty sure it's been more than that.
Okay, so there's more than that. But let's say there's 10% more than that. There's 20% more than that. I'm a numbers guy, okay? So my point is I don't agree with them when they come to conclusions about the level of shit that you guys are going through that you're speaking of right now.
Hey, don't say you guys. we you guys is fucking like saying you might as well call me a nigger.
Oh,
don't say you guys. We're all the same people.
Man. We
all want the same shit that you want.
Nate.
We want our kids to have more than we had.
Nate.
That's Nate. What I don't like about you guys and them and they.
What do you mean you people?
It's us.
Damn it, Nate. You guys have to give me the benefit of the doubt for just conversation's sake. You know.
I know. I just want to put it out there.
Let's put it out there. When I say that, I meant people who feel that way. Okay.
People who feel what way?
The way that what you just explained, everything you just said. I'm just saying that the stance that you have, the right. Oh,
No
man.
more them, they, and us. It's
That's
we.
not my stance. I was just asking why there's a difference. Why it's okay to generalize some groups and not generalize the others?
Because your skin color.
I
Like,
answered
my
that
question-
question. No,
My question
Z.
was, why is it okay for you to
If you ain't
generalize
white, you ain't
liberals,
right.
but it's not okay for black people to generalize white people?
I answered that question. I thought I answered that very easily, so I was going into a deeper point about it.
Yeah, but I'm not
Well,
saying, what
simplify
I'm
it
saying
for
is
me.
that's not my stance. That's just all I was asking. That's not my stance. I'm not like, oh, let's riot and burn down shit and kill white people. That's not my
Okay.
stance.
Okay,
So
because
when you say that's your stance, that's not my stance. I was just asking why it's okay to generalize, for you to generalize, but other people couldn't. Like,
because
where's
I
the
just
equality? That's all I was
because
wondering
I
about.
just got derailed. I'm gonna start over my stance. What I meant was your stance because it's my stance, and I would say to you what I was saying. All I was saying
You're
was
using big words.
all I was saying was
I don't know what you said, so I'm gonna take it to disrespect.
no.
Hey, I'm sorry, James, but I'm with my boy on this one. Why
No,
is it
no, you don't get to
Wait,
derail
hey.
me right now. No, that you
Yeah, I
can't
know.
do
Well,
me
let me
like
tell
that.
you. Why the difference? I killed my baby mama for fucking sleeping with a white guy, but I kill my baby mom for sleeping with a black guy. Why is that different? That's what I'm trying to see. Why is it difference for? Why is it difference from killing a white guy than killing a black guy? Why is Black lives death not as serious as white guys' death? And the same shit in the same situation. Why are we getting a tear and you getting life in prison?
So
Soon as that shit changed, then we can talk about it. But that ain't changing. Because black people are considered more fucking evil, or just because their skin color. Why is white pure and black is evil? When you think about Nightmare, do you think white? You don't say, oh, this white guy fucking what's his name? But this black guy, that's evil. That's what I'm talking about.
That was an unconscious bias question, my friend.
Yeah. Why
That's unconscious
is black
bias.
bad? Why is black bad and white good?
you'll have to ask somebody in the year 432 AD to get that question.
Yeah. The whole problem is that all white people made all the laws that are around today. Wasn't no black people, no Mexican, wasn't no Indians making these laws. And now wait, black folks are gonna get together one of these days, and then you guys are y'all melatonin skins are gonna have a problem. Are you colored people? Black people ain't colored. White folks are colored. I'm black all the time. If I'm cold, I'm still black. You cold, you turn red. So who's colored?
Hey,
Answer that question.
okay. I'm gonna test my memory.
When you dead, you turn blue. But I'm still black as hell. So answer, who's colored? Nigga.
I'm going to test my memory skills here and see if I can answer that question and still get back to where I was at before.
I'm sorry, I had to do it.
No, it's good. No, it's good. You just
should be taking notes.
you just brought up something that I've been thinking about all week that I've been wanting to ask somebody, guys. So
you can ask. I got you.
The proper and I've seen many people upon my normie book speaking this way. The proper way to refer to a black man or woman is a person of color nowadays.
For he can answer her too, but
no, that was a statement.
I don't like African American.
Okay, African American we don't like. Okay,
I don't like that because I never been to Africa. I was born here.
Okay, but what about
how am I African American? And I got Cuban in my family. I got Puerto Ricans in my family, and I got Mexicans down the line. I got white folks in my line.
What do you think about person of color, though?
I'm not colored. I'm just black.
Okay,
I'm not colored.
Thank you.
You're colored.
Thank
you're
you.
Colored.
Thank you.
I'm only like one color all the time.
I like it. So the left, the woke left of our days will have us believing that they walk around, and everyone on our Facebook We'll talk about when they refer to themselves now. This has never been a thing before, but all of a sudden we're calling each other, I'm a person of color, I'm a woman of color. And hold on. So I started to think the other day. Hold
That's
up.
60. That's 60 shit.
So the other day I started to think, how awful did it sound as we watched movies from back in the day and we hear people say colored people. You're switching around the wording to call them people of color, where we've always thought it was derogatory to call people colored people. So what's the difference between calling somebody a colored person and a person of color?
I don't know. I never had a problem.
You know what the difference is?
The only two black person at all Mexican schools. So we're colored.
I can tell you what the difference is.
Okay.
First off, the proper way to refer to someone who is not white, anybody who is anything other than white, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or including people who are white, is however that individual would like to be referred to as.
Agreed.
Just because someone doesn't want to be called African American doesn't mean someone else wants to be called black.
I like it.
Yeah.
Nobody's a monolith.
Yeah.
So for me to say we're both African American when he just said he doesn't feel like he's African American, I've always just thought he's black.
I'm a descendant, but I'm just saying that if I never been to Africa, how you gonna call me African American if I never been there? If I wasn't raised there or whatever.
And people have different points of view, so it's individual, right? Just like you refer to women, you wouldn't call every woman you come across chick.
Mm-hmm.
You might call some chicks if you're at that level with them. Like I refer to my girlfriend as a chick sometimes, but at work I refer to women or ladies, right? Sometimes they're like, oh, this girl I know, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's how they would like to be referred to, right? It doesn't necessarily matter. As far as the difference between a colored person and a person of color, the difference is one puts the person first.
Person is the key word.
It's which one is first. Colored people were not considered people. Person of color or people of color, the people is coming first. You're recognizing me as a human being first and foremost, and having a color or a tint as secondary. Whereas colored person, the color was determining my level in society, where I was and how I was treated. That's the difference.
Thank you. Okay. No,
damn, you're intelligent.
It's a grammar situation.
You're intelligent. You need a better girl dancing in the background, though.
Nah.
What? You can't get a better girl than Doja Cat dancing in the
background. It's all about the ratchetness and the righteousness. You gotta have a balance. That's a Charlemagne the God quote.
Yeah, I know.
You gotta have the balance.
Hey, but damn, I'm glad to meet both of you guys. Or not me. I know you, James, but I'm glad to meet you. Man, you're intelligent. I like that. I like to have to know that there are intelligent black men out there, and you're in. Man, fuck, you're an intelligent black man. You a deep thinker, and I like that.
Yeah, man.
I'll see
what from a single mom and the growing up in the hood.
So I can stop. So I can stop thinking about that then and be like, okay, so the language that does have some, in historic terms, even when it comes to how language is used in linguistics, the order of the wording that is very intelligent. I like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, man, people don't really think about words as powerful as they are, but if you're a biblical person, you'll understand the power of words, because the first words that were spoken was "Let there be light."
That's right.
And once that was spoken, creation began. All creation from a biblical standpoint.
And in the Quran,
oh shit!
I could bust out the Quran, but in the Quran, it's spoken as the latter words are more important than the former. So that's kind of a contradiction. And I didn't grow up in that manner, but that's kind of the opposite. They believe the words that come last are to be held upon. That's the word of God. Whatever came before didn't was superseded by what was said later, or whatever. Or maybe I said
there's logic there too. If we're gonna meet up at a bar and I'm like, hey, meet me at this bar over here, and then I call you 2 hours later and say, oh, we changed, we're at this bar over here, what I said last is the most relevant, right?
That's right.
There's logic there. There's absolute logic there. Yeah. But neither one of those things were being applied when white people were referring to black people as colored.
Yeah, like that was always
a social status application.
Yeah, that was offensive, and you're colored, and now we're gonna go by people of color. But I guess
That's the difference. You're recognizing us as people, and not only
People,
that,
and
but
not
also
just colored people.
exactly right. And also, when you're looking at people of color, it's not just black people anymore. It's everybody.
Asians,
If you're from
Indians.
India, you're a person of color. You're from
Yeah.
Asia, you're a person of color. Right.
That's right.
Well, India and Asia are the same thing. India is part of Asia, but
Or
you
they
know,
didn't
you're
call
from
Asian people colored people at all.
They're dark
right.
too.
Exactly. Colored was reserved for black people specifically. And that was to relegate their social status to a lesser
No,
state.
I think it's tan people because what's name get that too. Indians and what's name get that too, and Indians and Indians. What do you call that? You know, the Native Americans and Indians get that too.
Yeah,
because they're colored.
Yeah.
Anyways,
so person of color is now anyone who is in the
different
minority.
from you. Yeah.
Right. Anybody who's not white who's in the minority is a person of color.
Damn it.
So it's a more respectful, more inclusive term than colored person being used as an insult to relegate someone like me or someone like Nate to a lower social status, and also dehumanization and removal of rights.
Damn, you're fucking man. You're smart. Hey, I wish I had the words like that. Yeah, good word. But I'm just a big old jock that got allowed to slide through. I never did homework in my life. I had never done homework. I went to college and never did homework in my life. They let me slide because I'm a big black guy and I can play football. You know, and then that needs to stop too. And when you talk about, I don't want to say bring up the systemic racism. I just feel like all these basketball players, football players, and whoever does track and field or whatever, like they let us fucking, hey, if you're good at this, we're gonna let you slide. No more letting slide. I don't want that no more for us. We need to learn because they keep us. That's how they keep us dumb. If we don't know nothing, we don't know nothing. You know, if you don't know, you don't know. If you don't know,
that
you
lowered
know.
standard, shut up and dribble.
Yeah. I swear for God, I never done homework in my life. And if I actually would, I got offers when I was in high school to Alabama, Florida, fucking Michigan, Cal State, whatever. But I didn't know I had to take 4 years of math until last year. I'm a senior. Oh, you didn't take 4 years of math, so you can't go to university. I didn't know that. But why didn't I know that?
That's terrible.
I bet you my Anglo Americans knew that, but I didn't know that. So why is that? Tell me. I don't know. I don't know if you don't know the answer, James, because you ain't the white all be all, but you're one of the only few white people I know. Mm-hmm. Why didn't they tell me that I need to take 4 years of math or 3 years or whatever it was, calculus or whatever it was?
But we said generalizations are okay, right?
Why didn't know that? Yeah, because I guarantee I could have sit on the Cardinals bench, at least sit on the Cardinals bench, making a couple million a year. I'm that big, and I thought I was that good.
I could say the answer to your question has a lot less to do with racism maybe than other factors. I mean, I could think of 1,000 different factors. Like the fact I didn't really know that. I didn't know what you just said. I didn't know that was the case. That, I mean,
yeah, that was the case.
It may be. So you lost me. So you have to take 4 years of high school math to get into college, is what your point is, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I didn't know that.
That would be 2 years. What I thought to me, I thought you just take math all the time in high school. I thought you would at least get 4 years in naturally.
Yeah, you for the first 2 years, freshman and sophomore, you take math, and then you can have instead of those math classes, you can have elective like, you know, art or whatever, PE or whatever, or whatever lifetime sports. I took instead of taking math, I took 2 classes of lifetime sports and 1 class of PE.
See, now I could say some shit that would sound really evil as a white man sitting here saying some shit, right?
Yeah. But why didn't I know that? Because they want to keep me stupid. That's what I like. Not to say that I didn't have a choice or whatever. But I wish somebody would, my counselor or whatever, would told me that. I would have like, oh, I'm gonna take 4 years of math, so I can go, because I know I was good. You know how big I am.
Well, that shit
And
didn't
I
happen
knew.
because your counselor was racist, man.
No. I'm not saying he was racist. I'm saying that, at the time that it's probably better now, but at the time it was just like, you're good at football. You're helping. We didn't win a lot, but you're good. Okay, we're just gonna leave you alone. I wish they would have told me something. I wish I had somebody to tell me something, and that probably comes back down to having a father. If I had a father in my life every day, or the 2-parent household, maybe it would have been different.
No, I don't think so,
I'm
because
not
most
saying
dads don't know. I think that comes from.
but I'm not saying it's society's fault. I'm not saying it's whatever, or because my dad did drugs or my dad did that. I'm just saying that most black
It's
folks don't have
society's fault.
the mom,
No,
and
that's
dad.
definitely society's fault.
I'm not gonna
Society's
put it.
fault.
I'm not gonna put
No,
it on
that's
that.
that's
I know
definitely society's fault.
I know, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
give
man, call a spade a
anybody
spade. It
power.
is what it is.
It's a choice, and if I were
So
to, if I were,
that's why I feel like the feeling that the conversation that we all seem to lack to have, and the conversation that it on a if I just gloss over this super easily, it'll just sound wrong. But the culture that we all grew up in, we grew up in a fucked up culture. The reason that white kids growing up in Arcadia knew that shit was because the culture they grew up in, and there's something about the lack of direction that we get, where we grew up where it seems like the only way we can make it is by selling drugs or something. And the way that we lived was, I mean, that's how it was for us. For me, especially for me.
For me too.
Yeah.
I know.
But especially
was there
if
with
anybody knows my real history and my parents and stuff like
And
that, that's what I
I've
was
been
set
around
up to be.
many times, and your mom wasn't there.
Yeah.
You didn't have nobody fucking tell you,
Right.
this is wrong, this is right. Why are you doing that? That shit. And if you don't have that, how is it? It ain't easier for you to do it. It's harder when you got nobody to get on your ass.
Well, James, you realize part of the answer to that question is systemic racism, right?
Yeah, it is.
But what do I have? Where do I fall in? Where do I fall into that systemic racism?
But
that's the reason why the reason why that environment exists is because you were in an environment where minorities are typically found. You're the outlier. You weren't supposed to be there. You were supposed to be in Arcadia with everybody else of your kind, right? You were in one of those outlier areas because you guys lived on the wrong side of the tracks where the minorities were, right? So, and this is one of the things that you kind of see and you kind of figure out. If you take a high school kid from Chandler, right? And you take a high school kid from West Phoenix, South Phoenix, etc., right? You're gonna have two totally different curriculums. Dude, my kids in Chandler, their school has a television studio. They are teaching kids in high school. They can sign up for classes and they can learn how to actually run a television studio and make a news show, news broadcast, etc. It's part of high school curriculum. You remember that in high school at your school?
Yeah, but it wasn't good.
Not like that. Not like
no, I mean, like they have a full professional studio cameras and shit. You know where it comes from? The money comes from the parents who are wealthy and live in Chandler, right?
Because
that
the
money comes from things like
the taxes have to stay local in the schools where you pay taxes, right?
Correct.
So that's why conservatives. This is why conservatives
local.
Believe in the voucher system and believe in private schools and getting us out of the system. And this is where this conversation went last time. So I would hope.
Yeah, I remember that.
You remember this, Nate? We started talking about it. The fact that they want to keep us
my daughter's in the private
schools. They want to keep you in your local public school where it's a failing school because this is the neighborhood you live in. They're keeping us all locked down in these certain areas where we want the ability to imagine the government sends you a $2,000 check every year to put your kids in the correct school that you would like them to be in. Not only that, my son goes to a private school. There's tax incentives that minorities might not even know about, and I didn't even know about, but my wife, who knows how to look into crazy shit, I have nothing to do with it, knows how to find tax.
I'm here.
They know how to find
Right.
tax breaks and shit on how to. All your family pays taxes, right, to the government.
Yeah.
Their tax money that they pay could go to your children's schooling to pay your children's private schooling, and they're still paying taxes. Their money's going the exact same way as it normally would, but they, instead of paying the government, their money goes to schools. So there's programs that exist to get our kids into better schools that really exist. So people in the hood, people need to support the voucher system and support Republicans who are trying to push this fucking system in New York City,
And-
where they're fighting over these. You've probably seen the documentaries where they have these lottery systems where they're trying to help fall into get lucky enough to get one of those lottery spots where my child could go to this place. This shit's
But you
so
can't.
unfair. It's
You
not-
realize that it's easier to improve the school than it is to move the students to another school, right?
Yeah.
So instead of taking the kids out of the hood and putting them in schools in someplace else, why not improve the
Bringing
schools
better
in the hood?
teachers to the hood.
if
Why
you
not
Instead of
improve the
fucking
schools that are already there?
If you think
What?
throwing money at them is going to do that, we've seen over the years.
Why would it not?
Time.
If I got the same computer you got, why I don't have the same chance you got? If I got the same education, the same good teachers that you got, why shouldn't I have the same chance?
Because
No matter where I'm at.
we might have had good teachers at LCK. We probably had really good teachers. I bet you that one teacher that we all fucking disrespected and called the cunt on a constant basis and was like, "I'd like to bend you over that desk right now," and our culture, because how we were as people, we didn't give a fuck about what they had to teach us. The culture is going to have to change at some point. The music we listen to is going to have to stop teaching us that it's good to fucking be stupid and gay as fuck to be smart, which that's how it was.
Yeah.
Why do you think
you're right.
calling something gay is a negative thing?
Yeah, that's something I've
Yeah,
never
back
said
in
in
the
a
day,
long time.
it was.
I hope I can
That's
edit
gay.
that
That's
out.
gay.
There's
That's
no
gay.
edit button on this. God damn it.
Yeah, you
I've
can't
done
say
that
you
in
never
such a
said
long
that.
time. I went back to 1997 on you guys there. That's my
Yeah,
bad.
okay. That's gay. That's gay.
All right,
Okay.
so let me ask you another question. If the culture needs to change, if you need to improve the culture and change the way people think and people's mindsets are, don't you think something like putting money into the schools where the kids are, instead of having to have a transportation issue and having kids on the public transportation like I did, losing hours back and forth every day to get to a place, having something locally in my neighborhood where I can go and I can learn these things, like an after school program, for example, or improving the system so that instead of being stuck on the porch with nothing to do or getting into some bullshit, I can have some kind of mentor show me these things. Wouldn't that be more beneficial than trying to cram 50 kids from the hood into this rich white school or this private school someplace?
No, I think that it would create competition and those schools would start to perform on a different basis, because competition is what breeds success in this world. And that's what this
But
competition.
you're saying you're saying competition. There's no competition from a school in Chandler and a school and fucking us on the south side. There's no competition when you got better teachers on one side and you got one just there to get they're there because they got their tenure.
Right. So my point was,
they got so many knuckleheads in this class that they don't like. They got to deal with these knuckleheads,
right,
instead of dealing with the people that want to learn.
Right. My point in competition was with the voucher system, was setting up kids being able to go and compete. These public schools would have to start, they're a public system. The government doesn't know how to do shit except laissez-faire. They go about their shit and they don't, I know they're not funded correctly, the local schools, but the education budget, if you look at it on a scale, on a graph, the education budget is so bloated. All we do is throw money at the problem. They just keep throwing money at the problem. It's not the money. It is a little bit of the money in downtrodden neighborhoods in South Central LA. There's problems like that. LCK, Camelback High School, they had financial problems. You throw more money at those schools.
They're doing better now.
Huh?
They're doing better now.
I know. I met a young girl the other day that just graduated from there, and she was surprised to hear me say all the awful shit that I said about our high school.
Yeah, my oldest daughter graduated from there.
For real?
They're doing, yeah, my Alexis, my oldest daughter, she's 19 now, and she got her not a doctorate, but her not minor, but she's going to be a nurse like my mom was, and she's doing good. She's going, but it ain't it.
Dang, that's awesome.
This is
dude.
what all is. This is what it all is. This is what it all boils down to. If we all had a father or what's saying somebody in our life to tell us, take your ass to school, fucking do your homework, fuck all that bullshit, education is the key. We always had that. Fuck the teachers and what they're that all the money you say about the what's thing. If we had somebody in our life telling us that this is important, I think all of us will be better off on it. And it's all about the fault. Just like you're for your kid, and that's all we need. We need fathers, more fathers in these young kids' life to tell them that this is the way it is. I want you to have better than me. And if you do that for your kid, and if Z, you do that for your kid's gonna be better than you, and and fucking James, your kid's gonna be better than you. That's all we need. That's all I needed.
Amen. Fucking A, right.
That's all. I remember my mom coming to one football game, and I played football, soccer, baseball all my life, every sport since I was in third grade, Pop Warner, all that shit. And I remember my mom coming to one game, and if she would have fucking put more effort into saying, "Motherfucker, do your homework," or "Fucking you do this, you got to do that," I would have been better off. I would have been a smarter person. But you having two parents in the house, that's a good thing. And every parent, black, white, or Mexican, or Indian, whatever, if they have two parents in the house, it's a better thing than just having one parent in the house. And I think that's part of the problem with the black community, because there's usually only one parent in the house, and it's the mom, and I got to work two jobs to take care of these two bad boys or whatever, And that's part of the problem.
It's the number one. It's the number one reason why the BLM words cannot come out of my mouth, because they're against everything that you just said right now. And
but you're talking. Who started lesbians? Or I have probably about my daughter is fucking, she's bi, and I have in my wife's family, she's Mexican. There's 3 or 4 in the family. I have no problem. I have no.
You don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to justify what you're about to say. Go ahead and tell them. Tell them who started the movement. Go ahead.
Yeah. You already know. I just told you. The LGBT community or lesbian community started this shit, and it's not really talking for the black folks like me.
And everything you just said that will help the black community and help the hood in general, they're against. Oh shit! Thank you so much.
I just said it.
Microphone right now. I thank you.
Let me ask you a question. Does the source matter if it starts working?
It doesn't matter, but they ain't talking about what I want them to talk about. They're getting the talk started, but they ain't talking about the general. It's about having a man and a woman. When you have kids, a man and a woman. For me, I'm talking about just for me. I think it would be better if as a man and a woman, no matter what race or whatever, in the life of the kid. And if you have somebody to tell that kid that this is bad, this is good, I don't care about what everybody has different thoughts or whatever, or different, beliefs in religion or whatever. But I believe that if you have a stern mom and dad in the united front in kids' life, they'll be better off instead of just growing up with one or the other.
I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree with that.
I don't
what
care
I'm
if it's
saying
a
though
woman
is,
or a woman. I don't care if it's the man and the man. But you have two people
that
unite and say, "Hey, take your ass to school, do your homework. When you get home from school, I'm gonna take your homework." Well, if you have somebody like that in anybody's life, I don't care if black, white, Mexican, or whatever. If you have somebody like that, you're gonna do better.
Yeah.
And I think that's proven.
I agree with that. No, I'm asking James. So my question is for James. I'm asking James, why does it matter that Black Lives Matter was started by lesbians? And why is that the focus?
Oh,
if Black Lives Matter is still working, if Black Lives Matter is still doing the work or putting it out there to start those conversations to say, hey, we want to be treated as equal. We're not being treated as equal. There are problems that need to be exposed. We need to have these conversations. What difference does it make who it started by?
It doesn't matter who it started by, but it matters who those people that started it, whose message that they're pumping.
That message they're sending
The
out.
overall public does not know anything about their stances, and people like me go out there and we start talking about what their mission statement is, right? And we talk about, if you go to their website, you'll see what their real purpose is and what their real cause is, and it has nothing to do with the further of the black man and whatnot. But I will admit, the 98% of people who believe in their cause and stuff would look at you and be like, what the hell are you talking about, dog? I don't even know what you're talking about. That has nothing to do with what Black Lives Matter means. But if you follow Black Lives Matter since its inception, you would know, if you looked up the website right now, it's not going to show what I'm talking to you about, Z. So you might as well stop doing it right now, because their mission statement has changed over the years. And I've
Didn't
watched
you just say to look at it?
No, I'm just saying the changes have occurred over the years where their mission statement was purely about destroying, what is it called, the nuclear family, right? You probably heard this before. Tell me you've heard.
Yes,
Nate, I said it seems like Nate knows this shit. You can't be
I
surprised by
watch
it.
Fox and CNN.
Okay, so wait.
If but
If Black Lives Matter had one mission 6 years ago, and over time it's changed and evolved to be more inclusive and to start working more on improving the lives of Black people, regardless of their sexual orientation, why does what their message 6 years ago was still matter?
Because
no. Yeah, calm down, James. I hear what you're saying, Z, but what it is Black Lives Matter, the movement, and what you think about it, to every Black person, it means a different thing. For me, I shouldn't say every Black person. For me, it means a different thing to their. For me, because I know myself, I know who I am as a Black person. Some of the shit they get behind, I ain't with it. But I'm all for fucking equal rights for whites and all. So it shouldn't be just because you're white.
Well, yeah.
That's what
I mean, you're never going to 100% agree with everything. I mean, there are Democratic and Republican ideals, I believe. No, I'm never going to be all in on one or the other. Yeah. So like I get that. I definitely understand. But like what I'm saying is, if BLM started as one thing that you disagreed with, and then their mission is changed, why would you still like resent them or have this thing against them for what it used to be when it's not that anymore?
I'm Black and Black people, we don't get down with that. That's what we're taught, where a woman should be with a man. So it might be, I don't want to say systemic, put that shit back in there, but it's what we're taught, that a woman should be with a man should be a woman, even though I don't.
Uh-oh, I think you lost your signal, man. Where'd you go?
His battery died, probably.
Oh man, you gotta plug the phone in.
Dang.
Yeah, no. So like I hear what he's saying. I understand. Like there is definitely like this big, like almost like, well, literally homophobic air around Black people and the Black culture, right? Like, for example, I was talking to Jess last night. I was talking to my girlfriend, and I was like, check this out. And I played Lil Nas X's Christmas song. Have you seen this? The holiday song?
No.
So Lil Nas X has a holiday song where he's like Santa Claus and he's talking about all this shit's going on and whatnot. It kind of slaps a little bit. I'm like, all right, this is kind of dope. I like this, right? But one of the things he says, like early off in the song, like easily the first verse of the song, he says, I might bottom on the low, but I'm on the top, or some shit like that, right? He's literally, it's probably the first openly gay rap lyric that's ever been put out there, right? Okay. At least by a mainstream artist, right? And I was explaining to Jess, I was like, that's huge. That's a big thing, because the Black community is largely homophobic, right? There's this big homophobic air around the Black community. And a lot of it comes from there already being a shortage of strong Black male figures to begin with. So we're already starting with this hole of strong Black males, intelligent Black males, and people that can stand up and protect the Black community and things like that. And then, so the Black people automatically tend to resent anyone who is not that strong, masculine Black male figure. which is why there's this whole thing of like homophobia in the Black community. And it's not really fair because it's what's the word? It's hypocritic, because telling someone they are less than or treating someone as less than because of who they love
It's the same
as a
thing
Black
you've
person
gone
is
through.
the same thing that happened to us.
Right.
That's why Emmett Till was killed,
Right.
because he was accused of talking to a white woman
Right.
or trying to flirt with or hit on a white woman. So if white people were killing Black people for trying to have a relationship with or having a relationship with white people and telling them you can't date white people, stay with your own kind, how is it fair for us to tell Black people you can't date, for me to tell a Black dude you can't be in love with a man?
Right.
Like, that's kind of fucked up and hypocritical.
That's
But
right.
that's how we tend to roll. That's what happens, and we don't see that hypocrisy.
Yes.
That hypocrisy is missing, and it's a bitch to have that conversation with people sometimes, because it's like, what the fuck, right? So like I understand what you're saying about how Black Lives Matter was about, tearing down. It has a lot of the same historical roots as like the modernized feminist movement, right? Where the actual true feminist movement isn't about tearing down men, it's about lifting up women, right? It's the same kind of thing. It's men are here, we want women to be here and even as well. We want women to be brought up to even, right? But you have this thing where somehow this group within the feminist movement decided that the only way that women are going to get here where men are is to bring men down, right? And that's the same kind of thing that kind of started off with the history of Black Lives Matter. It's kind of has those same kind of roots. And over time, you see a lot of feminists doing the same thing where they're like, wait a minute, no, you don't tear down men to improve female life. You get men as allies to improve female life, right? Same kind of thing with Black Lives Matter. Like, it started off as one thing, and over time it's shifted. If you start off as a bigot and you come to learn by, having your daughter marry a Black person, for example, having mixed kids and things like that, we would praise you as having growth. You've learned, you evolved, you become a better person, right? So if Black Lives Matter is doing the same thing, why would you refuse to keep them out of, why would you keep them out of your mouth and refuse them?
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to understand.
Okay, so I would argue that one, they don't have a change of perspective and a change of heart over time, that a hiding of their true purpose has occurred over time. Okay, so that's different. Now, I would tell you that as from a Black man, to bring that part up that he brought up, that's what was important to him. And that's what a lot of Black people I would speak to, that they would bring those concerns up first, right? Those aren't my concerns as much. My concerns with with that movement is, please tell me you know of this, it's Marxist roots. The founders of Black Lives Matters, the self-renowned trained Marxists, are the problem that I have with the movement. It's not so much about the furtherment of the Black community. It's more about the change of the American way and the capitalist system in and of itself, because in and of itself, it is systematically racist and should be brought down. So that's where my concern comes in, not so much about who they are, but it is a part of it that is a huge sector of leftists who are this LGBT community, who are trained Marxists, who are deep activists, and they really, really mean this shit. Now, like I said before, when I'm telling my friends this, they don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. This is some shit made up in my social media circles, possibly. This is something made up. I can't say made up because I've heard the words of them themselves. I wouldn't be saying if it wasn't some truth to it. But they are able to, the overall purpose of them is portrayed as something positive that you would follow, that any man, I would follow, anybody would. But I know I don't, we need to just, I wish we would just say, all Black Lives Matter. That's a hashtag I can support right now. The Black Lives Matter Inc. is an evil organization hell-bent on the destruction of America. Now, how radical do I sound? To the everyday Joe, I sound very radical on some other shit that nobody's even paying attention to. But on the real level of where things matter in the world of where these things are discussed, where pundits discuss these things left and right, this is the case. And what they're focused on, I read their mission statement out to my friend who's a huge Black Lives Matter supporter, and I read him all those those parts. And his response in the end was, what was wrong with any of that? Reading that shit doesn't really, I had to break it down. What about this part where it says about the nuclear family? Oh, you don't know what the nuclear family means. Let me explain to you what the real basis and why that's an important thing. The shit that Nate was speaking about earlier. Those things are important to the structure of America and why we've been a successful country, and why the communities that I think have failed in a major way because of the lack of a two-parent system, whether it be two men or two women. Like he was saying, I fully agree with all that. I believe a man in your life is hugely important for having boys and girls. I do believe that. I believe that society is structured better when you have that normal system, but I believe it can also work in any other way also, whether it be whatever. It can work in certain small cases.
But you realize that the reason why Black families are torn apart is because of things like the war on drugs and the prison system, right?
I agree, man.
Like Black people aren't just getting up and walking away from their kids.
That's
but
right.
People have this concept that Black dudes are just running around having babies and running off.
Well, a lot of that, how we grew up, man. Think about it, was just like we would just have fucking kids. We would just have sex with everybody, and me and all my friends.
Everybody did. That's teen hormones, dude.
But
that's not unique to Black people.
Our responsibility would be like, man, I don't, whatever, dude. Like, she needs to have an abortion, or maybe one day. Like, I have friends who we had kids at very young ages, and the way that they handled those situations was not great. To say, it was not any teenager
teen
doing
sex
that.
And teen pregnancy is not unique to Black people.
No,
that's not relevant, because it happens across the racial spectrum. So looking at Black people and saying you guys are abandoning your kids and running off is
people. It's
totally inaccurate.
This is a class.
It's definitely class. It's not race.
I agree with you, man. And it's a class thing. That's why I say me. I'm not Black. Like I think this is more of a class thing. In Little Rock, Arkansas, where you have little white chicks running around having babies all over the place, and the fathers don't give. This is a culture thing. Those same white dudes are walking around sagging and saying the N-word as if they have the ability to do that. You know?
Yeah, but you're getting this shit in like high schools all over the place, dude. I went to high school at Sunny Slope in North Phoenix, and we had white girls getting pregnant by white dudes.
Yes.
And I'm talking about people whose parents were judges and lawyers. Like, we are not talking about broke people. Teen sex is teen sex. Teens are gonna bang. That's what happens. But the destruction of
in a much lower level
families is not blamed on just Black people getting up and running off. They're getting arrested for shit like we started the conversation about. You're getting pulled over, beaten, and arrested on trumped up charges half the time. It's a lot of shit like that that's going on, which is why you end up seeing Black men missing from families. So if the system is designed to incarcerate Black men, or men in general, but the laws are written to put Black men in jail quicker, easier, and for longer sentences than other races, you can't blame Black men for abandoning their families. They're not being abandoned, they're being taken, kidnapped, and put into the new version of slavery.
This is stated with such confidence that I don't think anybody who's being logical can state that with such confidence. I think it's a possibility that it may be true, but I know, man, to say they throw them in there for longer amounts of time, easier, in an easier way, that gets rough. That speaks to the justice system and its issues.
Part of that systemic racism conversation we started with.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I mean when I'm telling you systemic racism exists. Oh, he's coming back. But that's what I mean when I talk about systemic racism. That's an example of it. When the system is set up to pinpoint, target, and hold back or destroy a certain portion of the population based on race, you have systemic racism. When Black families are torn apart and the male father figure or the males are pulled out of, they're not even father figures, uncles are being pulled out. The Black men who could be policing Black communities are being pulled out. they're getting hemmed up on shit. People that could be running the community centers, if there was funds for running the community centers, rather than getting vouchers to take people out of their environment and put them in a foreign environment around people who have historically oppressed them and been captors and murderers of these people for centuries in this country. You take us out of our regular environment and say, okay, go and make it over there with people that are not like you, that can't relate to what you're talking about or what you're doing and are completely different than you. You're going to put them in a hostile environment. If you take any Black person and put them in a room full of white people, you've put them in a hostile environment by default. It could work out well. It could work out horrible. But given the way that you see that they see each other, odds are it's a 50-50 shot. It's a crapshoot, especially in today's environment, right? So something like the voucher system is going to take Black kids and drop them in the middle of a hostile environment. Similar to taking a white kid and throwing them in the hood, and they're the only white kid at the ghetto school. I know a lot of friends who were the only white kid at their school or one of a handful of white kids at their school, and they got picked on and beat up on a daily basis because they were different, right? So you're talking about creating this hostile environment and taking kids and dropping them in these hostile environments and telling them grow and adapt, get used to it, right? And that's why I say something like like, what's up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. You're talking about white kids in the hood or whatever. I told you that me and my brother are only 2 Black kids in the school, and we have to fight every day, or at least until we kicked their asses a couple times, and then we didn't have to fight no more.
Yeah, totally get the point. And I have a few friends who were the only white kids in the all Black school, or Black and Hispanic school, and they're like, there's like 6 white people in the school, and they got picked on and beat up the same way all day, every day. So it's one of those things where you're taking someone and putting them in a hostile environment and saying, okay, now that you're in this hostile environment, go ahead and learn and make something of yourself. Good luck with that. So now you have to learn, grow, survive, make something of yourself, and watch your back at all times.
But I don't like the way you're making excuses for what's the name. Black people adapt and overcome all the time. I don't hear you making excuses for Black people. We have to
excuses for anybody.
When we go to the bank or we go somewhere proper, we gotta dress correct. We gotta be on our top game. But I don't want you to make an excuse, because in the military you adapt and you overcome, and that's what Black folks been doing for years. And I'm tired of it. Why can't it just be me at all times? White people, I ain't talking about you. I'm talking about everybody else. You are who you are all the time. But why do I have to act different just because I'm around a certain group of people? I'm just asking you because you're the minority or whatever. You have a better answer than I have. I don't know. Why can't I be me all the time? I go to the store and I don't dress up. I got ugly toes, and I probably got. Hey, I ain't broke. I ain't broke. Put it that way.
Nate,
but people look at me different.
Nate, how come I can't be who I am?
Why I can't be?
How come I can't be? I can't go to work and be who I am. I can't go to work. I have to be another person when I go to work. I slap on my face.
For me, I don't have to go to work no more. I'm done with work. I ain't gotta work a day in my life anymore. And without having to worry about my fucking bills, but I still, when I'm out in the public, I have to be a certain way.
All right, you just opened up a can of worms now. Why do you say you don't have to work another day in your life?
I don't have to work a day in my life anymore. Why? Because I put my time in. Because they rolled my truck, and the truck don't work no more, so they gotta pay the truck. They gotta pay to get the truck fixed. I'm saying that I got enough money where I ain't gotta work, but I'm still, no matter what, no matter if I have the money, it depends the way I dress, the way people treat me. So I got like 5 suits in my truck. If I wear my suit and go to the bank, I'm treating a different way.
That goes with everybody.
I know, but why?
Yo, that goes for everybody. Why? Because
no. I worked for Food City for 15 years. It was IGA, Southwest, and then it was Food City. And this man used to come in, and he was the bummiest fucking man that you ever see, white man, you ever would see. smelled and everything. And he's all, and he told the realest shit he ever told me was, the way you dress don't mean that how much money you have.
Of course.
Why can't I be comfortable? Why can't I be comfortable? No matter how much money I have, why can't I dress the way I want to dress, no matter how much money I have?
You want to answer that question, Z?
Because people have preconceived notions of who you are and what you present.
Yeah, exactly. I happen to be a 6'2", 350-pound man. Even though I have money in my pocket, I still got act a certain way around certain people. Why? Why can't I just be comfortable in my own skin?
The same reason I have to.
Yeah,
That's the same reason. It's not the same reason. It's a different reason.
Your reasons are more acceptable than my reason.
That's true.
I just want to be comfortable.
That's true. That's true.
Your reason. So actually, it's interesting because they're tied together, but they're not the same reason.
They're the same.
For me
You're
and Nate,
automatically not intimidated. They're not intimidated.
right?
People are not intimidated by you, but they're intimidated by me. And it may not just be because I'm black. It is because I'm bigger than you, and if I get mad, I could hurt you. You know, that kind of shit. But why?
We're back to that tiger I talked about earlier.
Remember,
it's a tiger scenario.
Remember, you said your smile. Oh, what's the name? I smile at people. I'm every day I wake up, I'm a happy fucking camper. You know why? Because I'm glad I woke up this morning.
That's right.
My brother passed away 3 years ago, and I bet you he would have been glad he woke up this morning, and he worked 2 jobs. He worked at the Venetian, and he worked at a group home, and he never been in trouble or whatever. But I bet you he got pulled over just as much as I, because he had a fucking he had Denali or whatever, and he got pulled over because he works in Scottsdale. And nigga ain't supposed to have a fucking Denali in Scottsdale.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
But I just hate that. You don't understand, because I hate that people that don't know always talk about shit that they don't know nothing about. You don't know. I ain't never been in trouble. I ain't never been in trouble. I ain't never stole from nobody. I ain't never fucking I've been to the jail because my mom didn't want to buy a car, so I bought me a car at 16 years old, and I didn't have no license. I got pulled over for not having a license because I didn't know. I got tired of fucking not showing up to school until lunchtime because I was so tired because I had to go to work. How many white people know about that shit at 16 years old? How many people know about that?
A lot.
Yeah, I know.
Most people do.
Yeah, but you know.
I knew it was 16. I was like, I need to get a license.
I knew it was 16.
Yeah, but
most people know.
I'm tired of walking 2 miles. I'm tired of walking 2 miles from home at 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock in the morning, and they had to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning to catch the damn bus. That's why I didn't go to school, because I was fucking tired because I had to work. Because my mom had money, but no, my mom taught me that's my money. That's not your money. I got money. You ain't got no money. That's what my mom taught me.
That was the worst decision of my lifetime when I made the decision to, you know what, Dad? How about I just work full time and screw this high school shit, and I'll pay you rent to stay here, and I'll pay half the rent, you know? And I got a good job at 16.
Decision.
Yeah, at 16 years old, I'm gonna go get a full-time job and get paid $10 an hour, which is amazing at where I'm from at $10 an hour.
That's amazing. I started up at $4.25 or $3.75.
Dang.
That's amazing.
I started at $5.25.
Oh,
Taco Bell.
I started at a taxi company, right?
Right?
So started at a taxi company, and I was just
I remember that.
And I'm sure I'm lying, and it was like, I'm sure it was $7.50 if I remember correctly is what we got paid at that time. It seemed weird, but I think it was more like $7.50 is what my thing was at the beginning. And I think I got it to $10, but I was able to pay half the rent. But then you don't focus on school anymore, and that's what I'm trying to teach my daughter at 20 years old right now, my stepdaughter. It's like, yeah, you don't. She's making money at this little job she has. They're gonna make me a manager of a little sandwich shop, and you think that that's gonna help you when you're 24 years old, 30 years old. You're never gonna own shit. it's more important to focus on the school, live at home for free while you can, take advantage of these things and save that money while you can. And then
Yes.
you can make a life for yourself. Do what
You
we
can have
did.
that down. You can have that down payment for your fucking house
Yeah.
that you own instead of paying rent.
Yeah.
But people don't know that. They rather rent their cars, rent their houses.
Right.
If you own it, ain't nobody can take it from you.
That's
If you
right.
own it.
I can call somebody and they're gonna come fix my air conditioner for me. You know?
Nah, you're so I'm about 50-50 on that one.
That's what it costs.
I definitely agree. You should stay home and have your parents and work and save as much money as you can, help your parents out a little bit, but get those discounts and get the education.
Yeah.
But she could also do some serious damage getting early managerial experience.
Yes.
Even if it's just managing a sandwich shop. Leadership is leadership, bro.
Yeah,
That goes
just
far
can't become
anywhere.
your main focus. You can't think that that's going to be your meal ticket. And this is like, because you can go get a cheap little apartment somewhere with that manager job, and you could possibly live an okay life. And I'm the most likely person to say, hey, work a 40-hour job as long as you're happy in life. Have an apartment somewhere. If you're happy, I think that that's happiness. I really, there's been times when I've had a lot more money in my life, and I've been like, we got knocked down. I remember getting knocked down and being like, I'm kind of excited to go live in an apartment. I don't know why, but that's the way I grew up. So it seemed like I felt like I was going back home kind of when we went to that, when we did that. And my wife couldn't understand a word of that. You know, she's like, hell no, I don't want to. This is not exciting.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Sucks.
we're going to live more like normal people again. We're not going to be doing these weird ass steakhouse dinners on a constant basis, living like we're somebody else when we really don't have that kind of money, but we're pretending like we did. And then it just seems, I don't know. You don't need to make a whole bunch of money to be happy in this world, but you need to let this time be for education. There'll be plenty of time for working dead end jobs when you get older, I guess.
What it is it ain't about having money or not having money. It's about being content in what you have. As long as you have something. That's a lot of what a lot of people living. My mom used to call it living up to the Joneses. You ain't gotta live up to the Joneses. Hey, every Friday, once a week or once every 2 weeks, we go out, have a nice dinner or whatever. That's cool. You ain't gotta go out just because your friends or people you know are going out and having a good time every week and spending $300 on a dinner. Don't mean you gotta do that. You can do that every now and then. Just be content in what you have. Everybody wants more or wants to compare themselves to other people instead of just being happy with what you have. Be happy that you woke up this morning. A lot of people ain't happy. They want more than what they have. As long as you woke up this morning, you should be happy. No matter if you have $1 million or if you have 3 pennies in your bank account, you should just be happy with what you have. And that's what we gotta get back to. Republican, Democrat, and whoever. If you're happy with, because the best time I had when I didn't have we were eating hot dogs and ramen noodles. You understand?
Yeah.
To a certain extent, yeah.
To a certain extent, yeah. But money don't make you happy. That's the whole money. I don't care how much money you have. It don't make you happy.
Yeah, it can. It's just how you deal with it, what you do with it.
You can have things. You have things.
I grew up.
You can do things for your family. But
I remember growing up and having to have an orange extension cord run from the neighbor's window into mine, so we had electricity because my mom had to decide between electricity and rent for the month. Like I grew up broke as shit.
Not having no light.
Yeah, dude, regularly. I remember we had to actually. So when we had that cord running through, we had an electric skillet that plugged into it that we could boil water in to take baths in. Like I'm dead serious. When I say I grew up broke, I grew up broke as shit. I lived on 55th Avenue in McDowell, and we were broke as shit for a long time, right? I've also had conversation with friends of mine about how I've been to Japan and driven a Toyota Supra and a Nissan Skyline GTR around Mount Fuji on vacation. I went snorkeling a couple of years ago in Maui,
Wow.
And I can tell you, I'm happier now than I was. When I hit 30, I spent a month traveling Europe. Took a month off work and flew into Paris on one day and had to be at London Heathrow 27 days later to fly home with no agenda in between. Like, I can tell you that money is nice. It just depends on what you do with it, So a lot of people use the money to buy things that don't make them happy and then get miserable trying to keep up with shit that doesn't make them happy and isn't filling the void. They're using it.
But why buy $200,000 chains when you could have bought a house for your mom?
Oh yeah, I agree. That's what I mean by using it wrong. Like
Yeah.
those jeans aren't gonna make you happy.
Yeah.
I mean, unless
Why
it's like
buy
something on your
those
goal list.
$500 jeans?
Yeah,
Those
you're using it wrong.
$500 shoes.
Right? Yeah, like I tell people all the time, don't get it twisted. I drive a BMW. My BMW was nice. My BMW is also 9 years old, and I bought it used.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you can get nice shit, and you can have nice shit, but you don't have to like kill yourself to get it. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't have to be your priority. When you prioritize getting those things over spending time with your family and making those memories, like you lose out, you mess up, and that's where it falls apart. It's not necessarily getting money and having things, it's what you do with it. Like one of my favorite stories is telling people that me and wifey did laundry at a laundromat in Venice, and we had to race. We found a laundromat and had to race back to our hotel room to get our clothes and race back and beat a group of Australian people that were there to get our clothes in the last washing machine that was open before the spot closed. Right? It sounds wild. If I said that here, you'd be like, damn, that sucks. But no, I was on vacation in Venice. Like, I'm in Venice, Italy, doing laundry, and that shit was cool. Like that's one of my most memorable stories about being in Venice, right? And like, so when we first landed in Paris, we landed in Paris, and this is before, you know, you had a data plan on the iPhone, and you could just get maps. So wifey printed out MapQuest directions of how to get from the airport to the hotel. But one of the things that's interesting is when you land in a foreign country, you hit the ground in a city you've never been to before, it's really hard to read a paper map when you don't know where north is and you can't speak the language to ask anybody how to figure out where you're going, right? So no bullshit. We roamed around Paris, France, lost for 4 hours, dragging suitcases around the city. At one point, we're trying to figure out where we're going, and she's like, "I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure it out. I'm sorry, are you mad?" I looked at her and I was like, "Mad? Yo,
I'm in Paris,
30.
motherfucker. I'm good.
I'm lost in Paris. I'm lost in Paris on vacation. Like, no, I'm not mad. I'm supposed to be dead. I was supposed to see 18. I hit 30 and I'm in Paris. Hell no, I'm not mad. This is great. Let's go find some other shit. Let's keep roaming. I'm exploring shit I've never seen before. Right? Like, you know how many people I know will never have this experience, will never be lost in Paris, right?
What good perspective to have at that moment, man. Be able to look at that moment and say, because I could see me in my position and my wife, she'd probably be losing her mind and pulling her hair. I was like, let's think about where we're at right now and just appreciate that.
Like, just take this shit in. Like, I'm lost. Yeah, we're lost. In Paris, motherfucker. It's Paris.
Who cares?
Look
around.
Enjoy being lost in Paris, right? Many people never do that shit.
Did you feel like weird over there? Like there's people are staring at you over there? Like because you know the hair,
a little
Yeah.
bit, but it was only because I was American. Honestly, I was more worried about being American than I was being black. Just because Americans are we have such a bad reputation in so many other places, right? We're the loud, obnoxious, rude, overeating, fat, sloppy. We have and it's all TV shit, right? So like we'd go places. We went like 8 or 9 countries, man. And we would go places, and people would find out we're American, and they'd be like, "Oh, you're American. Oh, you're nice. You're not what I thought," because they'd seen so much American television. That's
stereotyping shit.
Yeah.
I
mean, we'd see people that were there.
My wife wants to go there, and like I don't want them to, like, because I'm huge. I hope to meet you one day, but you'll see me. I'm probably 2 of you. You look like a big guy too, but I'm probably 2 of you. And
I'm like 6'3" and 210.
Well, I'm 350, 6'2". So yeah, two of you are 1.5 or whatever. But I hope to meet you because fuck you. You're intelligent. Like I'm glad I got on this today, and I would like to talk a little bit more with you or whatever, like personally, because you're I need more people in my life because I think a lot. All I do is I'm in my head thinking a lot, and I've been wanting to get on this shit with James for a while.
Right.